welcome you to Minute Maid Park in Houston, where the Astros conclude this three-game series against the Athletics from Oakland. Two teams have split the first two games of this series. The Astros will welcome in the Yankees beginning tomorrow for an exciting weekend series, but today, first things first, trying to win a series against the Oakland A's. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another afternoon of Astros baseball. Todd Callis alongside Jeff Blum. And Blummer, last homestand did not go so well for the Astros. They lost all three series in that 9-game homestand. Today, a chance to get things turned around.
Yeah, real opportunity. They came out swinging the bats. The pitchers also struck out 17 of those Oakland A's, so a good start for them here trying to win this first series.
For the Astros, they are led by their offense right at the top with George Springer, our Toyota time to play.
Yeah, this guy's been amazing. He should be that starting center fielder for the American League All-Star team. Again, last night, he was hit by a pitch last time he went out there against Jesse Hahn. Made him pay last night with that leadoff home run, which is now 9 leadoff home runs this season, which is a new Astros franchise record. But he is really the catalyst for this offense. He continues to drive the ball all over the ballpark. Does a great job on offense, obviously, but he is also Superman out there for those Astros on defense. Really a tremendous athlete to have at the top of the lineup.
24 home runs in the season. He has more home runs in June than any player in the major leagues. And the Astros have done a good job this year after loss.
Yeah, we talk about the depth of this lineup, but it's also a team effort. We're not relying on one guy in this Astros lineup to go out there and turn things around. If it's a different guy every night, it's top of the lineup, bottom of the lineup. Really a truly fun team to watch go out there and do their work.
So the Astros look for a series victory today. They will have Brad Peacock back on the mound after missing a turn in the rotation for the birth of his son. He is back out there today against the Oakland A's. We'll have more after this. Baseball on Root Sports is presented by Toyota. Let's go places. And by Southwest. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. Astros pitching staff leads the major league in strikeouts. More on that with Julia Morales when we come back.
It's the series finale between the A's and the Astros. The Astros putting up 11 runs on 17 hits last night against the A's. An impressive offensive performance. But despite allowing 8 runs to the A's, the Astros pitchers had a pretty impressive number as well. They struck out the A's 17 times last night. That's one shy of their season high. That was against the Rangers on June 3rd. The A's have struck out 27 times so far in the first 2 games of this series. But you're looking at a big number right there. 805 strikeouts this season for the Astros arms. That leads the majors. The Cleveland Indians are coming in second. They only have 759, so a big lead for these Houston Astros. 125 of those strikeouts have actually come against this A's team as they've met 4 times. Brad Peacock on the mound today. His strikeout numbers have gone up. He's been able to miss bats this season, including the 10 he collected against the Rangers in 4 2/3. Todd and Blummer. We've seen the bullpen trim this way the past few years. You've got guys like Lance McCullers in the rotation, so they'll start to add up. But I think the impressive performances by guys like Brad Peacock and some others that we've seen this season have really made the difference in those punch-outs for the Astros.
No doubt about it, Julia. You've got Brad Peacock, who wasn't even sure if he was going to make the team going into spring training, and then you have James Hoyt, who didn't make the team coming out of spring training. Those guys especially have been striking out a lot per 9 innings.
And I think the reason they jumped into the spotlight in spring training is because they made certain adjustments. We hear the Astros front office talk about swing and miss stuff constantly, and these guys have actually created pitches that allow them the ability to go out there and create the swing and miss. For Brad Peacock, it is that slider. And as we look at our Shiner light blonde spotlight, we're going to look at Brad Peacock's numbers on the season. He was making his 7th start. That ERA is graded 2.82, but he came out of that bullpen blazing with the fastball being able to be located nicely in the zone, getting him ahead in counts into those 2-strike counts where we started to see that slider. Last time out, he went 5 2/3 against these Oakland A's, got 8 punch-outs, but 5 of his last 6 games that he has started, he has gotten 8+ strikeouts. That also includes a start against Texas where he got 10 punch-outs in 4 2/3 innings. So a lot of fun watching Brad Peacock go out there. He leads. This one jumped to me. He leads all major league starters with a strikeout rate of 37% of guys that qualify with 20 innings plus.
How about that? Just ahead of Chris Sale and Max Scherzer is that
Crazy.
guy.
Yes.
That guy.
Our guy.
Brad Peacock, amazing numbers this year, 13.3 strikeouts per 9. And today he goes against a lineup that strikes out a lot. Other than the Tampa Bay Rays, the A's strike out more than anybody else. Leading off, Matt Joyce, followed by Franklin Barreto. Jed Lowry is the second baseman. Chris Davis having a monster year against the Astros in the cleanup spot. Ryan Healy, the DH. Matt Olson at first base. Josh Begley behind the plate. Jacob Brugman in center field. And Adam Rosales has played third base before, but getting his first start at third this season. Good concentration by Julia, too, as she did her hit with George Springer, flipping a hat up to try and...
That's the least of her worries. Last year, she was getting seeds dumped on her. It was crazy.
The team for the Astros is definitely loose heading into this afternoon contest. Looking forward to a night off with their friends and family going into a weekend series against the New York Yankees. Astros winning last night in an offensive explosion, 11-8. And we start the game with a strike to Matt Joyce, 0-1. Joyce this series just 2 for 10, but overall 11 for his last 24. And he hits one into the shift on 2 big hops. Jose Altuve makes the play to Marwin Gonzalez, who's at first today, and we're underway. Marwin playing third yesterday and making a couple of real nice plays after playing left the night before. One of the topics for AJ Hinch today was how tough it is for a guy like you. You bounced around different positions, going position to position every day at a different spot. It's not easy. Yeah, Marwin's a little annoying for me too, because he makes it look so easy going from spot to spot. He was so smooth last night at third base. It was a lot of fun to watch. But you know, in order to be that guy that can move around, you have to have a little bit of an ego to you to be able to want to go out there and do that. I think Marwin's got that ego, but that ego is used in a way that you want to go out there and prove that you're athletic enough to be able to make the adjustment and move all over the field. Marwin looks at that lineup card every day to figure out which glove he needs. There's a called strike to Franklin Barreto. 21-year-old shortstop looking for his first hit in this series. Came in 4 for 10 in his young career. A couple of starts against the White Sox in Chicago over the weekend. And a fastball for a strike. It's 1-2.
And a mild perk of being that utility guy is when the glove company you're working with shows up in spring training, you pretty much get to pick whatever you want. You get to load up. Because if you could imagine, if you play 4 or 5 different positions, you get 2 gloves per position. Yeah, that's some cowhide.
So the guys that represent those glove manufacturers, that's the first guy they want to visit, right?
Yeah, get that out of the way. You want to take care of those guys that use all those gloves. And you know what? We rely so much on that glove because every glove has to be broken in appropriately and be game ready. These other guys that just play one lousy position have it easy.
Peacock ahead 1-2 on Barreto. Just underway Thursday afternoon. Glad he could join us as Peacock picks up a strikeout, the second batter he faces, as Barreto goes down swinging. Now 0 for 8 in the series with 5 strikeouts.
One of the things with Brad Peacock, as you look at our MD Anderson strike zone, is where is he going to locate? Where's that release point going to be? Because he's had some extended time off with the birth of his child. So trying to get that release point back is the only concern I might have. But so far early on, looking really good.
A lot of strikeouts with that slider. Peacock pitching on 9 days rest, was basically skipped in a turn, left the team in Seattle to be with his wife Stephanie for the birth of their first child. Now pitching with his young son, 5 days old today, pitching as a father for the first time. Jed Lowry takes a pitch up and away. It's 1-1.
Oh.
Twinkies.
That's awesome. Hands-free parenthood right there.
1-2 the count. You mentioned the number with Peacock's strikeout percentage being better than any starter in baseball. Minimum 20 innings pitched. That's right. Better than Chris Sale. Better than Max Scherzer. He also has a mark that leads the major leagues. The fewest percentage of pitches put into play this year. Less than 12%.
Wow.
He has continued to increase his strikeouts per 9 inning up to 13.3 per 9. And this is a guy, as we said just a minute ago, who wasn't sure if he was going to make the roster. Here he is putting up numbers we have never seen before in his career. Fastball just misses up and away, says Gary Cederstrom, crew chief behind home plate tonight. The count's 3-2.
And Brad Peacock hasn't changed as far as personality either. Still kind of subdued. Figured if he had big punch-out numbers like that and you're at the top of that list as far as strikeouts, he'd be a little puffed up, carry that luggage around, but he's just the same guy going around about his business.
A little frustrated with himself there. He was ahead of the count with Lowry and ends up losing him. The one area Brad would like to shore up a little bit is the walks per 9 inning, which is a little bit less than 5 walks per 9. 2-out walk issue to Lowry. Here's Chris Davis. Of the 21 home runs this year, off the bat of Davis, 1/3 of them have come against the Houston Astros. He has 7 home runs against Houston this season. Pitch misses away. It's 1-0. He has done that in just 36 at-bats against the Astros. Coming into the season, he had just 1 home run in his career and 70 at-bats against Houston. There's a fastball for a called strike, 1-1. Peacock starting against Oakland for the 2nd consecutive start, working on 9 days rest. And there's that good slider for a swing and a miss. It's 1-2. Peacock's opponent today is also starting against him, just like they did in Oakland. Difference is Daniel Gossett had a start in between, pitched in Chicago, picked up his first major league win, whereas Brad has not started since the 19th of June. No chase there from Chris Davis. It's 2-2. Davis hitting 2 home runs in last night's game, both coming against the starter David Paulino. And a lot of the infield thought that was strike 3, but the man that counts the most, Gary Cederstrom, said that pitch is not a strike.
Yeah, there's some guys bailing out in that infield. That is a good pitch.
That needs to be called right there.
Absolutely.
You did not need to give this guy 4 strikes the way he is going. And instead it's ball 4. So frustrating AB there. Peacock really looked like he had struck out Davis on the 2-2 pitch. Instead it's back-to-back walks with 2 outs.
Yeah, that's a little frustrating.
Here's Ryan Healy. Healy has 2 hits in this series. They have both been home runs. Grand slam in the opener on Tuesday and a solo shot last night. 5 home runs for the A's in last night's game. They kept coming back on the Astros. Here's a slow tapper towards the left side. Bregman will have to hurry. He does, makes the play in time, and a couple of walks are left stranded. We head to the bottom half of the first. Half of the first inning, and here is the Houston starting lineup brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Starting at the top, George Springer will lead things off in right field. He hit his 9th leadoff home run of the season in last night's game. Josh Reddick in left field, Jose Altuve at second, Carlos Correa in the cleanup spot, Carlos Beltran behind him. Evan Gattis gets a start behind the plate. Marwin Gonzalez over at first, Alex Bregman at third, and Jake Marisnick is the center fielder.
Daniel Gossett going for the Oakland A's. Right-hander faced them last time in Oakland, where he went 6 2/3 innings, only giving up 2 earned runs. He punched out 6. Doesn't throw very hard, averaging 90 to 92 on that fastball. He also has a curveball, slider, and a changeup. It's his 4th career start and 2nd against the Houston Astros.
Facing George Springer to lead things off. 24-year-old out of University of South Carolina, misses with the first pitch to Springer. It's 1-0. You know, normally I would think for a young pitcher, watching the starter the night before would help out against this Astros team, but the way the Astros attacked Jesse Hahn yesterday, that might not necessarily be a good thing for the young right-hander to have watched.
They should have sent him home early. Those weren't thunderclouds. That was the Astros taking hacks on Jesse Hahn. We found out after the game the approach was just lay off the off speed and wait for the heater from Jesse Hahn.
Well, he found a heater there on the 2-0 pitch and grounds it to third. Rosales makes the over-the-top throw for the first out.
You know, maybe Gossett said, "What I'm watching, what not to do."
Well, Gossett knows what this lineup can do, as you mentioned, having faced them before. Pitched pretty well in that game. Did not walk anybody. He's normally a guy that will be around the zone, so that will be interesting to watch in these early innings. If in fact he tries to nibble against an offense that put up 11 runs the previous night. Josh Reddick was right in the middle of everything last night. Reddick knocked in 3, scored 2, stole a couple of bases, made a nice catch in right field. He's enjoying playing against his former team this year, batting just under .400 against the A's at .393. Julia interviewed Josh after the game last night, and you never know how it's going to be just taking that 1 week off. Reddick went on the concussion DL, similar to Brian McCann earlier this year. Also, Jake Marisnick went through that. McCann struggled a little bit coming off that 7-day DL, getting his timing, but Reddick has come right out, 12 for 23 since coming off that 7-day disabled list. And he takes that pitch a little bit low, is 3-1.
Yeah, he just got a couple of cobwebs out of the way.
He has been fun to watch as Josh Reddick. He really loves hitting in that 2 spot in front of Jose Altuve. 3-1 pitch catches the corner, and now the count's full.
I'll tell you what else he likes too is playing in front of these hometown fans in Houston. Hitting almost 70 points better at home. One of the few Astros that are really raking here at Minute Maid Park.
Fouls it away, 3-2. You know, A.J. Hinch usually has good things to say about his players in the post-game show, media session, but I thought yesterday he really took a special moment to praise what Reddick does in every aspect of the game.
Well, he's being overshadowed.
In the air to right field, all the way back is Joyce to the wall, jumping, and he makes the phenomenal home run saving catch. Matt Joyce robs last year's A's right fielder of a home run and a tip of the helmet from Reddick to Joyce.
Might have gotten this breaking ball off the end of the bat, but still looked like it had enough to get out of here at Minute Maid Park. But Joyce timed this perfectly, taking it right out of the hat of an Astro fan.
Wow.
Great play. And a tip of the cap. And a super mode tip of the cap at that from Mattress Firm.
Think about his last 2 first-inning at-bats, Reddick.
He could have 2 first-inning home runs, and he's missed them by inches.
Last night, he missed a home run on the right field foul pole by less than an inch. 1-0 pitch is fouled off the bat of Altuve. And tonight, you know, Joyce is out there in right field because Matt Olson is playing first base because Yonder Alonso hit a ball off his knee and is out of the lineup today. And Olson's a big guy, but he's not an outfielder. I'm not sure if Olson makes that play, and Joyce is more comfortable out there. Played a lot of right field over his career. And he goes up and robs Reddick of a home run. Josh coming into this game hitting .305. He has not hit into the best luck this year.
He hasn't. We've seen him hit the ball hard during stretches and have nothing to show for it. So it could be a little bit better. I agree.
2-2 the count to Altuve. What in the world is that on the right side of his hat?
This is just a great big pile of goo.
It's like Nickelodeon slime. A broken bat, little flare towards second, and that'll do it for the Astros. So a near home run, but we're still scoreless.
Park. It's the top of the second. Brad Peacock back to work, and it's been a blur of a weekend/first week for Peacock, who was scheduled to start Sunday against the Seattle Mariners, but Friday during that game got the call that his wife Stephanie had been checked into the hospital at West Palm Beach as she was expected to give birth to their firstborn son. So he went straight to the airport, jumped on a plane. It was a red-eye. 10:30 p.m. He takes off from Seattle on the West Coast, lands in West Palm 7:15 a.m. That's, of course, where they're from, so family and friends were there. He made it, guys. He made it to the hospital, actually with some time to spare. Colton Joseph Peacock, you're looking at pictures right now, was born at 1:46 p.m. on Saturday, and he had a couple of days to spend with his family while he was on the paternity list before heading back. And one other quick note, it's been a while since he's made that last start due to everything that had happened. He lives so close to that brand new spring training facility. He was able to jump over there. It's about 10 minutes from his house, throw a bullpen, play catch with Josh Miller, the rehab coordinator there. So felt pretty good coming in, but what a weekend week for the family of the Peacocks. Congratulations to all of them, guys.
Yeah, congratulations absolutely to Brad, to Stephanie, for the entire family. How was he in relaying the story about the birth of his child? Because he's pretty much a low-key guy, right, Julia?
There we go. Yeah, he is a low-key guy, very even keel. You don't see a lot of emotion from him, but talking about that day being the best day of his life and talking about holding his son for the first time, he got a little teary-eyed, and just you could feel it from him. It was a really exciting time for him, really tough, I'm sure, for him to have to leave and come back to work, but duty calls. He's looking forward to seeing them as soon as he can.
Yeah, that'd be great. And pitching today, his son Colton Joseph, 5 days old. Kind of fits into a starter's mentality every 5 days.
Right, yeah.
And now he's out there on a major league mound as a new daddy. Congratulations. 1-1 the count to Josh Phegley. Tries to hold up, and he does, as first base umpire Gabe Morales. 2-1 the count. Olsen flied out to right to start the inning, and now Phegley, who gets a chance to catch with Bruce Maxwell getting the day off. Maxwell and Brian McCann, the catchers in a 3.5-hour game last night. Day game to follow. Both of them get a breather. Brad has been a little bit off with that fastball in the first inning plus. He's now 3-1 to Phegley. And that's ball 4. Third walk issued by Peacock of the first 7 batters he has faced.
Tell you what, if you're a hitter, just eliminate that bottom part of the zone. We haven't seen Gary Cederstrom really open up down there, but Peacock, when he has missed down and hasn't gotten the call.
That's where you'd like him to live. That slider, especially when he has been effective, has been in the lower third, knees and below. That's where he's gotten a lot of his chases this year. Also got some chases on the curveball. There is that sweeper. It's kind of he's got a 77, 78 mile an hour curveball, then that slider comes in around 81. The last pitch looked like a slider, but it came in at curveball speed. Fastball fouled out of play. It's 1-1.
Well, who knew the A's were going to show up and be disciplined first time through the order?
Right?
After last night, maybe they got chewed out for swinging at everything that the Astros were throwing up there, but they've been a little more selective here early on in this ball game.
I was thinking the same thing with Brad Peacock getting the chase percentage he does in this team, but they have been patient with 3 walks, and that could have been the game plan. Make sure it's a strike all the way into the catcher's mitt, because they have been a little bit patient first time through. And that's where the adjustment happens the other way. You notice that they are laying off some of these pitches, and maybe you become more aggressive in the zone. 1-2 the count to Brugman. Jacob fouls one off. Brugman was called up on June 9th, and he has started 19 of 20 games since his recall. He and today's starter for the A's, Daniel Gossett, getting called up right around the same time. It worked out well because they were both roommates in Nashville. And there's that breaking ball for a swinging strike. That is the second strikeout for Peacock, 1 per inning.
Might be the curveball. You see how he was holding that baseball? He spiked that pointer finger, putting more emphasis on the middle finger to create that curve break to it. But in his last start, you see the pitch usage against Oakland, where he's very heavy on the slider, and it might have been because of that swinging and missing tendency of the Oakland A's. But he was also very effective in getting ahead in counts.
More sliders and fastballs last start. And he is usually heavy slider to right-hand hitters.
Yes.
But not to the extent where he throws more over the course of a game. And Oakland has a lot of lefty hitters in their lineup. He is normally about 45% sliders to right-hand hitters. There is a fastball for a swing and a miss, 1-1.
And that slider is proven to be very good against both lefties and righties. He does have the changeup, and you saw him throw it to Brugman. Got a foul tip on it, but he really goes to that slider from both sides of the plate to get the punch out.
There is that pitch. 1-2 the count. And he also likes to throw it back to back, especially when he gets to 2 strikes. There he goes. He gets a swing and a miss from Rosales with that sweeping slider. 3 strikeouts of the game, 2 in the inning.
Out of the second between the A's and the Astros, and time for our Chevy Stroh poll. Remember to follow us on Twitter at RootSportsSW so you can vote. Today we ask you, who's your first half Astros offensive MVP? George Springer with his 24 homers this year, Jose Altuve, Carlos Correa, the player of the month for May, or Marwin Gonzalez, who's literally done it all for this baseball team. This is a good one. We'll show some of the tweets later in the broadcast, Todd.
There's not a bad answer. There is not a bad answer.
That is a tough Stroh poll.
That really is.
It would have been better if you'd said, do you think Marwin will make a Stroh poll as an Astro MVP candidate halfway through the season?
It is most versatile and right up there with the offensive numbers of those other 3. As Carlos Correa leads things off and swings to the first pitch, grounds it to short. Redo with the toss to first, and there's 1 away. Marwin is, as we've mentioned this week, and we'll find out on Sunday night whether he gets named to the All-Star team. Starters and reserves are named on Sunday, and then there's the 32nd player, the final player vote. The candidates will be announced that night as well, but Marwin certainly has a chance to head to Miami as an American League All-Star. Here's Carlos Beltran.
Oh, there you go. Japanese eye drops.
What does that do for you?
That opens the entire world for you.
It's that good?
Look at Marwin's got his own spot in the dugout, too.
That's when you know.
That's show.
You know you've done something.
Yeah. That's show right there. You got your own little section of the dugout.
Do not touch my stuff in this area.
I mean, he's got batting gloves, bats, Japanese eye drops, and a little spray. Stick them in there for the batting gloves.
That is the Marwin Gonzalez zone right there. Do not tread on my stuff.
Exactly.
Well, he's got all these other gloves, right?
Yeah.
You have to have a little spot. You don't have a locker. You have to have a little spot for them all.
Marking his territory.
2-2 the count to Beltran, in on the hands, foul back. So when we were talking about the gloves and the glove manufacturers showing up at spring training and how Marwin's one of their favorite guys, when you went through all that and you kept having that same glove you used at third base, the manufacturers tried to talk you out of it? Like keeping that same glove year in, year out? Hey,
no, they.
Beltran in the air to center field.
Yeah. Oh, I ran to him. I'm like, hey, could I get another glove? Could I get this? I asked until they said no, but I used the same glove at third base for 9 years.
So they didn't try and talk you out of that?
Nope. I would get them in different colors. And you know what's funny about that is when we moved to Houston from California this offseason, January, packing up the storage and all this stuff, found 3 dozen bats. My wife is like, why do you need this? What are these here for? They're my bats. I am taking my bats with me. We opened up a box. There had to be about 6 gloves in there, and for about 3 different positions. Why do we have these? You never know when a ball game's going to break out, and I need my glove.
I like it.
Yeah, so it was funny, but it was, yeah.
That's a gamer, keeping the stuff. And I would think, and I've got to think most former major leaguers would keep their bats and gloves because it's just habit.
It is habit, and it's tough to let go. You want to hold on to that stuff and have proof to your kids, your friends, and say, look, I've actually played in the big leagues.
So all that stuff's now in Houston?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
1-1 the count to Evan Gattis. One thing Evan Gattis won't keep after his career is batting gloves. Because
he must have a stockpile.
Or pine tar. He just grabs that piece of lumber and goes up there and says, throw me a fastball and see if I can hit it. And that time he gets a breaking ball for a called strike. It's 1-2. Gattis' only concession to modern equipment is the fact that he wears the elbow guard. But he will grab that bat. He will not use pine tar. He will not use batting gloves.
Well, we talked about why he has that arm guard on, to protect the baseball. It's not for his own protection.
Right.
Major League Baseball is sanctioning him. It says they have to wear that in order to keep more baseballs in the game.
Facing Daniel Gossett, the young 24-year-old right-hander. And he stays alive on the 2-2 pitch. Gossett will be around the zone. Doesn't really have a 2-strike pattern developed yet in his first 3 starts. Kind of goes to a variety of pitches with 2 strikes, even though the majority of his strikeouts have come on the curveball. Fastball towards short. Barreto charges. And he'll make the play to retire Gattis in a 1-2-3 inning for the A's right-hander. We're through 2 scoreless.
Sign your kids up to be an Astros Buddy member for only $25. Coca-Cola Astros Buddies members will get an exclusive Astros backpack, socks, cap, and ticket vouchers for an Astros home game. Visit astros.com/buddies to buy your membership now. Todd?
Julia, good job on the pregame hit. Who was that? Was that Springer trying to get in your shot?
Ah, yes. George Springer. He's even in the lineup today. Usually it's his off days where I have some trouble with him.
So he was timing up the tossing of the hat?
He was trying. It was his glove.
Oh, it was his glove.
And then what you didn't see, as soon as I went off camera, the seeds came. So I have to deal with those too.
Yeah, please explain to Todd the stuff that you have had to endure during some of these pregame hits. It's been unbelievable.
Yeah, the seeds, you know, I can handle the seeds now. It's the gum. Because when they throw them with a little force, they'll knock me off my game a little bit, right? Yeah, startle me.
Pat Joyce leads off with a foul ball. Who are the biggest culprits?
George Springer.
Marwin.
He's always been in the middle of something. It's not just me. I mean, he'll get anybody. No one's safe with George around. Marwin's up there.
But last year, it would be a full bag of seeds as you're on camera on top of the head. That's what got me. And you just kept going right through it.
They would just pour the entire bag of seeds on top of my head. And then I would smell like salt for the rest of the day.
Oh, that's fun.
This is today.
But I mean, that is in the middle of the shot.
And I have no idea what you guys can see. So, you know, I can't act like this is happening. Watching it back, I guess he was doing a pretty good job.
Yeah, he was right in the center of it.
They sometimes can line it up to where they're standing in the shot. If they do it correctly, they'll just stand right in front of me.
Does he know that we'll show him enough on camera without him getting in?
I know, right?
Doesn't need to be doing that.
Yeah, you're getting enough FaceTime.
Yeah.
You're doing enough. No, they're fun. They're loose, and it's always been a really great group to work with. But they've always been that way, you know, especially George. Just he's got that energy. He's that fun life in the clubhouse and the dugout, wherever.
It's good to see all you guys enjoying this day game as it's 3-2 to Matt Joyce starting off the third inning. Joyce.
Yep. Well, it's definitely a very unique relationship, I think, for Julia, being able to watch this team kind of morph into this great team. So she is invested in them, and they've been invested in her and given her plenty of good information and stuff like that. So it turned out to be a very good relationship and fun to watch.
Being on the side of things when wins were not coming prevalently.
You get to see everybody's true personality when you're winning 50-plus games a year. That's it.
The Astros coming in with 53 wins on the season. A 53-26 record as Joyce goes down swinging. 4 strikeouts for Peacock, all swinging strikeouts.
Everything away, and then a power slider down and in. And Todd brought it up in between breaks about how Peacock has a couple of different sliders that we see. He has a little bit of a sweeper that kind of comes across the plate, but that one right there is a little more of the power slider. There's a little more velocity on it, and with that velocity, it creates some late sharp break.
Here's Franklin Barreto. You know, last year was the first year, or the highest percentage of sliders that Peacock had thrown in his career was last season, and this year he's ramped it up even more. It's become his go-to pitch, and one of the big reasons he's had so much success this year. The pitch misses inside for a ball, and that was a variety of almost like a cutter motion where he's throwing that little get-me-over slider. That one stayed up and in, and then he's got the sweeper that he can get the chase with.
And last year we saw him really institute that slider, like you said, but it wasn't as effective or consistent. So you'd see flashes of what it could be, but this year it seems like he's really harnessed it, been able to throw it for strikes when he wants, but also throw it out of the zone to get that chase and the strikeout.
Because Barreto hasn't chased in this at bat, he's worked himself into a 3-0 count. And there's a strike.
I also find it kind of interesting in the Fires and Peacock aspect, in the sense that these guys were not supposed to be in the position they're in, yet they stepped up and made adjustments both mentally and physically to go out there and become a part of this rotation. It's been kind of fun to watch.
Peacock made his first start coming out of the bullpen on May 22nd against the Tigers. Was limited to 70 pitches that night and went 4 1/3 innings. And that was a real turning point for him. He basically forced his way into the rotation after that start. 4 1/3 innings of 1-hit shutout baseball. And then with all the injuries, he's become a major cog in this 5-man rotation as Jed Lowry takes a pitch in the dirt. 1 out walk to Barreto. 4th walk issued by Peacock in this game.
That will create a little bit of a concern for A.J. Hinch because that pitch count is going to start creeping up. We talked about the bullpen being used in the last 10 games. Astros starters have pitched 48 2/3 innings. The relievers have pitched 40 1/3 innings. So that's split a little too close as far as bullpens are concerned in usage.
In the air, pretty well hit to left center field. Marisnick all the way back to the track, to the wall. He finds the wall and makes the play. Jake made it look easy. That was not an easy play. 2nd out of the inning.
His speed helps him make it look easy. He can get to that wall. He knows it's deep enough to maybe get off that wall, but he hustles to the wall and finds it. But how about him finding that niche in the wall in between the pillars and taking a couple extra steps? It was a good swing from Jed Lowry on that fastball away. But what you couldn't see before that replay is that he actually took a glance at the wall to try and find out where those pillars were, and he took an extra step.
That was like you said, where Marisnick started. His speed allows him to get comfortable making that play.
Get there early enough to find a spot.
A lot of guys are still drifting or running back to that spot by the time they make that play, and Jake had time to line it up, find the wall, and make it look relatively routine when Peacock thought maybe that was an extra base hit off the bat. Turns into a loud out. Now dealing with Chris Davis.
Good look at Jake getting a good jump. Number 1, opened up that right foot, opened up the hips, gave him a good run, but he took a peek and knew that he was going to have an opportunity in between that section of that left field wall to take an extra step, and did. He's just good.
You know, you look at George Springer, who's playing right field, and you wonder, how can a guy be taken out of center field as good as George Springer? But then you also watch Jake Marisnick. And to me, the biggest difference, and they're both outstanding center fielders, the biggest difference is that first step.
I agree. They're athletic, they're very good, but the technique fundamentally. And that first step, much like infielders, we talk about a drop step in the outfield. That first step is that drop step, but they always seem to be on the right side of that drop step to open up their hips and get a good jump.
Springer is an outstanding center fielder. For him to be moved to right field, you know you have something special defensively in Jake Marisnick. The count's 1-2 on Chris Davis. Peacock trying to work around a 1-out walk here. Tired Lowry on a deep fly ball. Pitch count not where he would like it, but still trying to get through the 3rd inning in the mid-50s. And he strikes out Davis on the fastball. 5 strikeouts, all swinging. 2 in that inning.
the Astros and Athletics as Astros fans vote for their favorite Astro in the All-Star game. We're going to look at our forward spray chart. Astros home runs versus the A's since 2016. Relatively even distributed with those 42 home runs. I'm sorry, 32 home runs. Both left, right, and center. They're not going to discriminate against this Oakland A pitching. They are going to drive the ball out of the ballpark whenever and wherever they can.
Facing Daniel Gossett for the second time. Marwin Gonzalez will lead things off. Astros, first time they saw Gossett out in Oakland, had 6 hits in 6 2/3 innings. He's retired the first 6 Astros today and starts off Gonzalez with a pitch low for a ball, 1-0. Gossett coming off his first major league win. Won a game in Chicago over the weekend. Went 6 innings of 5-hit, 2 unearned run baseball in a 10-2 A's win. Down at the plate, it's 1-1. Gossett originally was not scheduled to pitch against the Astros in this series. He was supposed to start the opener of their series back at home against the Atlanta Braves tomorrow. But a blister issue with Jarrell Cotton, who was the original scheduled starter, has pushed him back. And Gossett, with the off day on Monday, still working on his normal rest. Swing and a miss there from Marwin Gonzalez as he throws a changeup. He'll throw that changeup a little more to left-hand hitters. That's his most prevalent secondary pitch to lefties. Throws a slider a lot more to right-hand hitters. There's a ball ripped and just foul. Marwin hit that ball hard. Just missed the Astros' first hit of the game.
Quick hands for Marwin. Up and in. He threw the barrel at that in a hurry.
You mentioned his hand position and how that's changed during the year, and it seems like he is on time for almost everything.
It's where he was last year. He started the season with the hands a little bit up towards his shoulder.
Lowry makes the play. Gonzalez retired. Marwin the first out here in the third. Number 8 hitter back in the lineup tonight. This afternoon, I should say. Alex Bregman had the day off yesterday. Done some work against the A's this year, hitting close to .350 against Oakland. And a pitch for a strike, 0-1.
Yeah, to get the day off to recover from his Tigers not winning the College World Series. Tough loss.
Florida Gators in the battle of SEC foes, taking out LSU in the championship of the College World Series. And he and Will Harris disappointed with that result, 0-2. Well, Alex is more recently with that program, so stings equally, but probably for Alex hit home a little closer. Two pitches fouled away.
Yeah, he's only a couple of years removed. He probably has some teammates on that team, or past teammates that are still playing.
A little SEC battle here. LSU versus South Carolina. Daniel Gossett, attending South Carolina, second-round pick in the 2014 draft. He was the first A to reach the major leagues from that draft. Bregman doing a good job staying alive with an 0-2 count. We mentioned Gossett's a strike thrower. He did not walk anybody in his last 3 starts in the minor leagues before his promotion. So far in 3 starts at the big league level, he has averaged 1 walk per start. They wanted that pitch up high and no chase from Bregman. It's 1-2. Last year was the big year for Gossett through the A system. Started the year at single A in the California League at Stockton, moved up to double A Midland, then triple A Nashville. At every level, he had better numbers. Ball speared by the third baseman Rosales. That was hit hard by Bregman. And a diving stop by the third baseman for out number 2.
Third up base on third base crime going on. The TV dive by Adam Rosales dressed it up for us.
First start of the year at third. Bregman and Reddick have been robbed of hits in this game, and now here's Jake Marisnick. Marisnick swings and misses, 0-1.
Jake hit a bomb off Gossett last time in Oakland.
Gossett ahead of Marisnick, 0-2. 3 home runs allowed by Gossett in his 3 major league starts. Allowed a couple to Miami in his first start. Only lasted 3 1/3 innings in that start against the Marlins. Front of the plate, Begley throws out Marisnick, and Daniel Gossett has retired the first 9 Astros in this game.
Minute Maid Park between the Astros and Athletics, 0 runs apiece. Come out to Minute Maid Park this Friday as the Astros take on the Yankees. Be sure to stick around after the game to see the best fireworks show in town. Presented by Occidental Petroleum. For more information, visit astros.com/fireworks or call 1-877-9-ASTROS.
That will be a huge crowd on Friday night, tomorrow night. If you don't have tickets already, you may want to make sure you get them, because that has a chance to be a full house. As Ryan Healy takes a called strike, 0-1. Healy, Matt Olson, Josh Begley leading off the 4th inning for the A's. So far, we've seen 4 walks issued by Brad Peacock in 3 innings of work. into right center field. This will be the first hit of the game. Neither team had a hit prior to that little flare off the end of the bat by Ryan Healy.
Wow.
Bring it up.
Those are incredible. Yeah, you're not going to sneak up on anybody with those, huh?
So the fourth inning before we saw our first hit today after an 11-8 contest in last night's game. Here's Matt Olson. Olson retired on a high fly ball his first time up. He takes a healthy cut up there. Saw him hit a home run in last night's game. 1 of 5 for the A's. That's a big fist bump.
Huge.
By the way, for the Clemson Tiger crowd out there, apologize. Daniel Gossett is a Clemson Tiger product, not a South Carolina Gamecock. So I picked the worst possible school to mention if you're a Clemson Tiger fan.
It happens.
He's from South Carolina, but went to Clemson. 2014 draft pick.
Pretty good baseball schools, though.
Good programs, both of them.
Decent at football.
I think.
Yeah.
Houston Texans will see a Clemson product this year.
Great call.
See how Deshaun fares as the quarterback. Cued off the end of the bat foul. Stays 1-2.
Some shrapnel on the field.
The A's are definitely in a rebuilding mode. 17.5 games back as they start the day. Matt Olson's a guy who will get a lot of at-bats, mostly in the outfield because Yonder Alonso is a first base, but he's more of a first baseman. He's a big power-hitting left-hand hitter. Just missed the corner, says Cedarstrom. Peacock's had a couple of close pitches not go his way today.
No, I completely agree. A guy like Peacock should get those calls.
Ball's ripped off the glove of Marwin Gonzalez into right field. Healy was heading back to the bag, so he'll get to second. That's a base hit. Almost went through Marwin. And runners on first and second, nobody out.
Again at first base, ball comes off the bat at a different angle. That ball was smoked. Down and in slider. You can see Marwin, that ball just got on him too quick.
So first 2 hits of this game, and the A's have runners on first and second with nobody out. Josh Fegley, the number 7 hitter at the plate. He walked his first time up. Takes a slider away. It's 1-0. Brad's the guy on the season with that high strikeout total and high walk total, who's gone 17.5 pitches per inning, which is a pretty high total. Today he's over 60 as he starts the 4th. And he misses again. It's 2-0. And with that pitch count in mind, he's only finished 6 full innings in one of his starts this year, making his 7th start of the season.
Well, when you start striking out guys, obviously it takes a couple of pitches to make that happen, but we've also talked about the walks per 9 inning being close to 5. That's going to add up on that pitch count too. So if you're going to go out there and start punching the world out, you'd like to really cut down on those walks or be more efficient in your strikeouts.
Yeah, I would think a reduction in both numbers would not necessarily be something that the Astros would mind. They would like to see both numbers go down a little bit.
Well, a perfect example is Lance McCullers for me. A guy who's a high strikeout guy going in.
Yep.
Took him a lot of pitches to get those punch outs, and he was leaving games early, but We've seen him adjust and adding that changeup to his repertoire. And now he's pitched a little more to contact. The strikeouts have come down just a little bit. He can still go get the strikeout when he needs it. But by pitching to contact, using that defense behind him, we've seen Lance McCullers pitch deeper into ball games, which is kind of nice.
There's that swing and a foul tip on a good slider. It's 2-2. Well, when you have that slider working as well as Peacock has this year, it's easy to understand how you can fall in love with it.
Oh, yeah.
But and if you don't get the chases from it, now all of a sudden you're drawing some walks and you're getting that high pitch count going. So it's a fine line.
It really is.
Doesn't get the chase there. So he got the 1-2 chase, foul tip, or excuse me, the 2-1 chase, foul tip, caught by Gaddis. Then you get the 2-2 pitch and you don't get the chase. And now the count's full.
I'm kind of curious why you're not getting as many chases from this Oakland 18. If they're seeing something in the delivery of Brad Peacock to lay off that slider, or if they're seeing it early out of the hand and laying off it.
All four. That's the 5th walk issued by Peacock as Josh Phegley draws the walk, and now the bases are loaded with nobody out.
Yeah, something in their scouting report says wait Peacock out.
Now he faces Jacob Brugman. Brugman was one of 5 strikeout victims in this game. Peacock has struck out 5. He has walked 5. He's allowed a couple of hits, both in this inning. There's a strike. 2 walks in the first, 1 walk in the second, 1 in the third, and 1 here in the fourth to load the bases. There's that slider, and it breaks over nicely for a strike. It's 0-2, and now he can go for the punch out, which he could use here.
Well, the way you change the mind of an offense out of that take mode is by throwing those strikes early in the count, forcing them to swing. They'll make the adjustment if you're in the zone.
Brugman, another one of those young A's who's getting a chance to play on a regular basis now. Look at the base runners. Healy on third, Olsen on second, Phegley on first.
Ooh, look at that.
71 pitches for Peacock. We're in the fourth. And it's 1-2. A.J. Hinch yesterday was trying to milk as many innings as possible out of David Paulino with this bullpen work the way it has been. Ended up going 4 innings plus a batter. He knows with Peacock now 72 pitches, he might have to make a call earlier than he wants to the bullpen in this game. And Brugman staying alive. Peacock, in addition to the highest strikeout percentage of his career, has also induced the most ground balls of his career, 43% ground ball rate. He would take either here, a ground ball at one of the middle infielders or a strikeout. They will trade 2 outs for a run. Brugman doing a good job keeping this at bat going. Wondering, does the 9 days off really affect Peacock? Is that why his command has been off? But he has walked 4 a couple of times this month. Been working on his normal rest. Just in and out of the glove of Gaddis on that foul ball. So close to a strikeout. Instead, the count remains 1-2.
Like that one rattled the cage of Evan Gaddis. And Julia talked about Brad Peacock earlier. He was down in Florida, had the opportunity to throw a little bit, keep that arm in shape, and hopefully that release point intact. But you're right, the walks have crept up on him throughout the course of the season in his starts.
And really this month in particular, his last 3 starts, 10 walks allowed in 13 1/3 innings coming into today. And just not able to get that put-away pitch here to Brugman, who is adding to the angst and the pitch count for Peacock in this inning. A young guy who may end up making an out here in this at-bat, and if he does, he still had a productive at-bat. Because he's staying alive, he's adding to the pitch count, he's adding duress to Peacock, who's had to make a lot of high leverage pitches. Peacock finally wins the battle, getting Brugman swinging at the high fastball. 6 strikeouts for Brad, the big one there. Bases loaded with now 1 out.
Did a good job fighting down in the zone with the fastball and the slider, but Brad Peacock finally deciding to elevate the cheese.
Mattress Firm Supermo shows that swing and a miss, and the MD Anderson strike zone showed everything low. Changed the eye level.
Attack a part of the zone you haven't attacked yet, because obviously Brugman was doing a good job of fouling off the tough pitches down.
It wasn't working.
Yeah.
So they changed the eye level and it worked. There's a slider away for a ball. It's 1-0.
They finally stopped slamming their head against the wall. Made the adjustment.
Rosales struck out his first time up. The infield's kind of in a tweener zone right now. They're back deep enough that they can turn 2 if they think they have one. Correa's going to have to make the play in the hole. He's going to go to third for the 4s. The run will score. Healy crosses the plate with the first run of the game. It's 1-0 Oakland on the fielder's choice. Carlos getting the out at third base.
It's a good play. Heads up play by both Carlos Correa and Alex Bregman. Ball placed perfectly in between them to where they couldn't turn the double play, but Carlos Correa making sure of getting the out at third base.
So after the bases were loaded with nobody out, now first and second with 2 outs, the A's plating a run. RBI number 24 on the year for Adam Rosales. Now back to the top of the order. Here's Matt Joyce. Couple of hits, a walk in this inning. Pitch outside for ball 1. Joyce batting for the 3rd time in this game as we play in the 4th inning. Pena has a day off. That's a good look.
Pena looks sad.
It's
I'll drink it in.
Tight on the sides and then just flowing up top. I like it. A little cut on the side too.
Special.
It is a special look. 2-0 to count the Joyce. We're 28 pitches into this inning now. And the ground ball is foul. 28 pitches in this inning, 82 in the game. And even though he's working on extended rest, that does not bode well for a long outing for Brad Peacock. But if he can get out of this inning with only 1 run, he will take that after the bases were loaded with nobody out. And now he's 1 pitch away. It's 2-2 to Joyce. Peacock spent some time in the A's organization. He was part of the Gio Gonzalez deal. Gonzalez going to the Washington Nationals and Brad Peacock going to the A's. Spent the 2012 season in AAA for Oakland. Down and into Joyce. It's 3-2. The A's normally a free swinging team. Today they've been very patient. Ball 4. 6th walk issued by Peacock. And this inning has gone long to the point where Brent Strom's coming out as much for rest as he is for advice.
Yeah, this will be a leisurely stroll until he gets to Brad Peacock. Some guys stretching out there in the bullpen. But yeah, they desperately need Brad Peacock to get through this inning. Limit the damage.
It's been a battle, and it's really been a tip of the cap to the Oakland A's and their approach today, because he's normally getting chases on some of these pitches they're taking today.
Absolutely. It's just amazing to me that the Oakland A's showed up today and have not swung the bats. Because last night we saw them swinging early and often.
17 strikeouts in last night's game, and today Brad Peacock, who normally gets a 35% chase with his curveball and a 37% chase with his slider, has not seen those numbers today, with 6 walks issued.
6 walks in 3 2/3 innings.
Off the end of the bat, Barreto fouls that one back. Barreto went up there hacking, thinking off the conference on the mound he'd get a pitch to hit.
You got a rookie kid up there swinging first pitch slider after he's walked 6 guys in the game.
He was looking fastball, got the slider, and barely got a piece of it.
Yesterday, Paulino went 4 innings, had 8 punch outs, no walks.
In the air right field, Springer should put this inning to rest, and he does. The base is left loaded. The A's score 1. It's 1-0 Oakland.
A 1-0 lead over the Astros in the bottom of the 4th, and our league leaders are presented by Houston Methodist and ho-hum, another category the Houston Astros are leading in as far as offense. Team batting average, they are leading the league with a .283 average. Nationals in the National League right behind them, and the New York Yankees coming in this weekend with their .269 average, second place in the American League behind the Houston Astros.
So you've got those 2 things going for you, and then you've got the 2 highest scoring teams in the American League. The Astros have the most runs, the Yankees have the most runs per game. You've got the only visit of the year for the Bronx Bombers into Minute Maid Park. And you've got a weekend series.
So it's going to be offensive.
It's going to be on. It's going to be a big weekend here at Minute Maid Park. I want to say, if you want to find a standing room spot in the outfield for this weekend,
just stay overnight. If you're at the game here, or if you have a chance to get to the game here, just show up and stay overnight.
It's this big and bright Friday night, so you've got the happy hour early.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
So this is going to be, I mean, people are going to be lined up early tomorrow. You may watch Aaron Judge batting practice and never leave the game, and never leave your spot for the game for the rest of BP on, because those spots fill up.
Just need to add a couple cars to the train and sell seats in them. Might get attacked by a couple of fly balls.
That's an idea.
I need to trademark that real quick. Be right back.
George Springer, grounder on the right side. Olsen will flip to his pitcher. And Daniel Gossett has done a really nice job coming into this game. He had made 3 previous starts, and he's retired the first 10 Astros he has faced today.
He's shown a good mix. And that slider has been effective to right-handers. We've seen the changeup occasionally out of the right arm of Gossett, but he's not going to overwhelm you. You can see a little bit of arm side run as far as sink, maybe a 2-seamer. He's running away from left-handers and in on right-handers.
But this kid has a chance to be a solid pitcher here for the A's. He throws strikes, and they're trying to find the guys they want to move forward with. 2017 is going to be the season where they say, all right, we're building for 18 and beyond, and Gossett's got a chance to really make a name for himself.
Well, in order for your fastball to be good and effective at 90 to 92 miles an hour, you're seeing right now the secondary pitches have to be better for Gossett. Have to be able to mix them, double up on him. He just threw back-to-back changeups to start this AB against Josh Reddick, and then all of a sudden 90 looks like 93, 94, and you get the foul back because the barrel is a little bit late. As you can see, that's a fastball, and it's just a little bit deep on Josh Reddick. If he gets the head out on that and clips it, Astros are in business.
The reason that Gossett was so good last year in improving from single-A to double-A to triple-A with a better ERA at each stop was that his command improved at each stop. Now he's 2-2 on Reddick. And Josh with the first hit of the game for the Astros, opposite field, down the line and left. Reddick into second base, and he is hitting right around 400 on the year against his former team.
That might be the key that opens Pandora's box for the Houston Astros offense. Just seeing a ball land in fair territory, hit hard, and turn into a hit. And give other guys in that lineup a little opportunity to relax and show signs of hope. But that is a great piece of hitting coming right at you. Up and away, does a good job of getting on top, going the other way. And again, another hit at home for Josh Reddick.
Reddick robbed of a home run his first time up by Matt Joyce in right field, going opposite field this time. We mentioned before in his first at bat, A.J. Hinch's comments as Josh having some fun with Jed Lowry in the beard. Reddick was such a great teammate, and as Astros players realize this year, a lot of fun to be around. Here's Jose Altuve. And A.J. saying he just does all the little things well. There's a guy who almost went deep to right field, driving a ball as far as you can without it being a home run, with Joyce robbing him to right, and then just taking that fastball the other way as next at bat.
You know what a great example Josh Reddick is the fact that he gets robbed on a home run. He could pout, he could get upset, he could snap, he could take it into his next AB, he could take it on the defense. He tips his cap instead and shows up the next AB and gets a base hit to start this game off for the first hit for the Houston Astros. So we've seen him, and we talked about it in that first AB where he's had stretches where he's hit the ball hard and had nothing to show for it, but we really haven't seen him panic. He continues to go out there and work hard and grind out ABs to get knocks.
And you see the second baseman Lowry playing very close to the bag at second. That's not normally where he'd be for Altuve, but they want to keep Reddick with his lead closer to second, and we saw what happened yesterday when Bruce Maxwell lobbed one back to his pitcher, and Reddick took off for third and stole a base on the A's.
There's a heads-up play, getting that extra 90 feet, put him into that sacrifice fly situation.
Gossett ahead of the count, 1-2 on Altuve.
Talked about the command of Gossett. How about the slider for a strike, the second strike, and he comes back with that last pitch just a little bit further off the plate to see if Altuve is going to creep out there and try and take a pass at it.
Yeah, he's one of those guys, when you watch where the catcher sets up, he's not missing his spot very often. He just spins to keep Reddick honest. Gossett, not a big guy, 6 foot, 177 pounder. Out of play, stays 2-2. It was a prolonged top half of the 4th inning, so Gossett had a little time on the bench in between innings. Brad Peacock threw 33 pitches in that 4th, and he's now up to 87 in the game. Gossett is at 58 right now.
How about a cement mixer? Make a mistake with that slider and have it hover out over the plate for Jose Altuve and have him jump ship right here and give the Astros a lead.
In the air to center field. Brugman is back. Tagging is Reddick. And he will get to third with a head-first dive.
Almost.
So Altuve flies out to center. Reddick taking that extra 90 feet. You may say, all right, what's a nice play. With 2 outs, though, Gossett's a guy who was leading the Pacific Coast League in wild pitches when he was called up. How about that sound effect?
That was good. Nice summer afternoon and a dive into the pool.
So now you add to the mix. It's a young pitcher, 4th major league start. He's uncorked some wild pitches this year, especially leading the PCL in that category with 9 while he was there. So now he might not be able to break off his best slider to a Carlos Correa. And just because of that tag
twice about it, yeah.
Because of that tag up, it makes an impact. There's a slider, but it's low, ball 1. So maybe he doesn't bounce one in there against Fegley, and maybe that causes him to hang one, and Carlos Correa can take advantage. Correa in a good hitter's count at 2-0.
How about being a rookie pitcher and your catcher sets up on the inside corner with a fastball sign against Carlos Correa?
That's probably why that pitch was
that's what I was just thinking. The margin of error. Yeah. It's very slim.
He's like, I trust you, but are we sure we want to do this?
Yeah, I've only got 90 in the tank. I don't have that 95 plus.
See where they set up here, 2-0. That was a close pitch. Correa takes it for a ball 3. There is a lefty on deck, or a switch hitter, but will they challenge Carlos 3-0?
Good spot to miss.
See if Correa gets a pitch to hit here. They go to the slider, and it's a get-me-over slider, 3-1.
Do I want to get the future Hall of Famer, or do I want to face the potential Hall of Famer on deck?
Which Carlos?
Oh, man.
22 future or 40-year-old?
High-stress situations.
He comes back and makes another good pitch, 3-2.
He's throwing a lot of off-speed in this AB to Carlos Correa. The one fastball he did see was down and in for a ball. He's kind of set him up to throw either the fastball or the slider in this count.
Likes to throw that slider to righties, especially in a 2-strike situation. There is a slider hit deep to right center field, all the way back. 2-run home run, Carlos Correa.
It's a future Hall of Famer packing some numbers early on in his career. All throughout the season, we have seen Carlos Correa recognize situations, manage ABs, get himself into these counts where he can anticipate, and when he gets a mistake, it gets crushed.
You saw where Fegley set up. He wanted that down and away. You saw where that pitch ended up. And again, not just because Reddick was at third, but that puts an extra thought into a pitcher's mind that I can't make that perfect pitch and possibly walk a guy and bounce a pitch and allow a run to score. Correa takes advantage with home run number 15, and the Astros with a 2-1 lead.
When I say manage ABs, he laid off pitches, got ahead of the count, and Gossett worked back into that count. Probably had a false sense of hope knowing that he got back to a 3-2 count with Carlos Correa, but even in a 3-2 count, you can't just flip something in there. It's got to be a good pitch, like you were saying, down and away where Fegley wanted it.
He missed his spot, and Correa driving in 2. He's now got 51 runs batted in on the year. A little slow tapper up the line, and Gossett makes the play for the final out of the inning. But Carlos Correa with a 2-run home run, and the Astros take a 2-1 lead. By Southwest. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. Transparency and transfix. That young fan enjoying his time here at Minute Maid Park. The fidget spinner.
Got to spin it to win it.
He was on that. 2-1 Astros. This game has the opposite feel of Tuesday night's game, in which the Astros had all kind of opportunities, couldn't take advantage. And Oakland ended up hitting a grand slam to take a 5-1 lead, would end up winning that game 6-4. Here's Jed Lowry leading off the 5th inning. Today, it's been all A's opportunities. They have left 7 on in the first 4 innings. The Astros don't have anybody left on base. The one opportunity they had, Carlos Correa took care of the runner on third with a 2-run home run. So Peacock left that last inning after throwing 33 pitches, feeling fortunate to be down 1-0. Now he's got himself a 2-1 lead, facing the 3, 4, 5 hitters of the Oakland A's. Got a called strike. It's 1-2. Peacock's high pitch total of the year is 99 pitches. He reached that in his last start in Oakland. He started this inning with 87 pitches. And again, he's working with extra rest, so A.J. may allow him to eclipse the 100 pitch plateau for the first time this season. Well, you wouldn't think he would get to the 110 range, so this is probably his final inning of work. Staying alive, 1-2.
I'll take a moment to express a little bit of concern about our PR staff and their inability to knock a baseball down in the press box.
What happened?
The previous foul ball went straight at the Astros PR department.
thought there were some good athletes in that field.
And I peek around the corner to take a look at him, and all I see is all three of them getting up from out underneath the desk.
Another chance for them, and they're all backing out.
Yeah.
Grande, Diaz, Jake.
Yeah.
They're all backed
They're
up.
bailing.
What's going on?
I don't know.
They're athletes.
They should be.
They're right there. Those three guys.
Those guys on the end there. But they're under assault right now, and they're bailing. They're running from the pressure.
I've seen Gino play some mean infield at softball games, but apparently
Gene's got some skills. He'll surprise you.
his son's an excellent baseball player.
I'm gonna have to get the Fungo out tomorrow and get them in the press box and start getting some work in. Gene Diaz on your right, Steve Grande on your left.
Yeah, they were bailing, not even saving the computers either.
Oh no, the equipment was going to wear it.
1-2 pitch is a line drive to left field. Reddick, a great jump, makes it look easy. 1 out in the 5th. Robin is Buddy Lowry, who was having a conversation with in that last inning.
It's twice we've seen Jed Lowry hit the ball hard and get nothing to show for it. The first one was Jake Marisnik going in the gap, and here Josh Reddick perfectly placed and gets a good jump on that line drive. Nice play.
Reddick has said a couple of times this year that he feels like it's a different look for him in left field, yet he's still consistently making good jumps and getting good jumps in left.
He is. But he seems like a guy that, you know, in talking about it, he's not complaining about it. He's adjusting to it.
You may wonder why there's a meeting on the mound right now after an out. Well, Chris Davinsky just started to warm up.
Good call.
That is a little bit of a stall tactic to let the Dragon start to unleash his fury out there in the bullpen.
You know what's great about Chris Davinsky, seeing him warm up, is that AJ's actually done a good job of giving him 3 days rest.
He had thrown a lot of pitches in that series against the Mariners. A couple of outings in Seattle. Chris Davis with a 1-0 count. Davis has walked and struck out. 6 strikeouts for Peacock, but he's also walked 6 batters. And that's why his pitch count is where it is, approaching the 100 plateau. 1 out into the 5th. You would always love to see your starter get through 5 with a lead.
It's good for everybody. You want to see those pitchers go out there and work hard and get that and qualify for that W. You don't want to say that you're the long man and all you do is go out there and start games, because that's essentially what you turn into if you're unable to get in that 5th, 6th inning range.
Ripped but foul. Peacock came in with a strikeout rate of 37%. He has struck out 6 of the 21 he has faced today. Davis this year against Houston, 13 for 36 with 7 of his 21 home runs. For the first time this year, Brad Peacock reaches 100 pitches. .99 against the A's 10 days ago in his last start. And he gets Chris Davis. That's a big strikeout. Strikeout number 7, getting the power hitting left fielder for the A's for the 2nd out of the 5th.
As much strength as Chris Davis has to drive the ball out of the ballpark, sometimes when he misses badly. Coming into this game, he was one of the league leaders in swings and misses. He has swung and missed 205 times coming into this game. He has 2 punch-outs against Brad Peacock already today.
He has swung and missed 4 times today. The A's have swung and missed
double digits compared to the Astros 4 today.
So we're going to rack that up to 209.
13 swings and misses for the A's for 4 for the Astros today. This could be a very important batter for Peacock. There's a power hitting lefty on deck, and there's Chris Davinsky warming up. So if Peacock wants to get through 5, he may have to get Healy here because Matt Olson has a big swing, but Chris Davinsky with that changeup can be very effective against left-handers.
COD.
And with the 104th pitch, it's outside. It's 2-1. 2 outs in the 5th. Peacock with 7 strikeouts, 6 walks. He's allowed a couple of singles, the only 2 hits allowed, and a run. That is a big pitch for a strike, 2-2.
Changeup. Right on right, changeup. Interesting choice after yanking a slider well out of the zone. Comes back with a different hold on the baseball, different delivery, and gets that strike.
He rarely throws that pitch right on right. Hasn't been throwing many changeups in recent starts. In the air, Altuve there. Peacock's going to get through 5 innings with a 2-1 lead. Head to the bottom half of the 5th. Astros lead.
Dallas Keuchel met with the media today. He's been on the DL with neck discomfort, but no real update on when he's going to get back on a mound. Still playing catch. He's now more than 100 feet when he's playing catch, but he has to be cleared by the doctors before he can start working off of a mound. So the idea of him pitching before the All-Star break, very unlikely, as we've talked about that, given the number of days between now and then. Last pitched June 2nd. That's 27 days ago. And then a rehab start more likely as we talk about it and see as the schedule progresses here. But even if named to an All-Star game, guys, he did say that would obviously be a huge honor despite not being able to pitch in it.
Yeah, it's disappointing because he probably would have been the American League starter, at least based on how he had been going.
Again, last time he did that, pitched extremely well and ended up winning a Cy Young.
Chris Davinsky continues to throw, so he will come on in the 6th inning. And we were talking in the break, that was a big 5th inning for Brad Peacock for a lot of reasons.
Yeah, it's good to push back that bullpen a little bit. I love the fact that those kids are watching Devo warm up, by the way.
Line drive off the bat of Evan Gattis, and the Astros have their 3rd hit of the game. And 3rd hit in the last 2 innings. Gattis a leadoff single, first leadoff runner of the game for Houston.
MLB.TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service, is back and better than ever. Watch every out-of-market regular season game live at home, in the office, or on the go. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details.
That's what you were talking about, huh?
That is great. What an opportunity. That's a part of that new center field, but being able to be that close and watch. It's one thing to watch guys go out there and work their trade in action, but it's another to see how they prepare to go into a game. I mean, that's close, too. You get to hear the pop of the glove. Maybe a little grunt out of Devo as he whips that heater in there to get loose.
Feel the fire from the Dragon.
Oh, there you go.
Arwin didn't think that was a strike and asked Gary Cederstrom about it. It's 0-1. Arwin grounded out his first time up. Carries a 7-game hitting streak into this one. There was yesterday's giveaway for the special Game of Thrones ticket. That turned out to be as nice a bobblehead as I've ever seen. Certainly the most elaborate.
Yes, absolutely. The detail is unbelievable.
1-1 to count to Marwin Gonzalez. So not only does Peacock with that 5th inning, he pushes back the bullpen. He gets through 5 innings himself. And he also, it allows Chris Davinsky maybe to pitch that 6th and 7th inning and not have to get another up-down. And by up-down, meaning having to pitch the last out of the 5th and then sit and then pitch 2 more innings beyond that. That can make a difference.
No, I agree, and that's probably one of the things we don't talk about enough is that's the issue with some of these guys coming out of the bullpen in mid-inning. You want to use them to get out of some damage or some issues that the starting pitcher has done, but at the same time, it's tough to ask your relievers to come in, pitch, get out of an inning, sit down, wait, get hot again, and go back into a game. So Brad Peacock getting out of that 5th inning allows Devo to start a clean inning. But Devo's a freak. He doesn't care.
He doesn't care. But for a lot of guys, it's a
huge issue.
Well, here's an example. Who knows how long this bottom of the 5th goes? And it's just started here with a runner on first base. And now a line drive into right, so that'll put runners on first and second. But this bottom of the 5th could be an extended inning. And instead of Davinsky getting 1 out, potentially, and sitting for the rest of that inning, he's out there on his own pace, getting ready to work the 6th and throwing pitches when he feels like it.
Exactly. It's such a great point.
They see Craig Bjornsson on camera, and they're giving him rabbit ears. You see that? I think that was Luke Gregerson behind him there, or Tony Siff.
Maybe say those guys don't know how to have a good time in the bullpen.
There they are. Tony's on camera. CB is a fun guy out there, and when the relievers can have a good time with him, they'll take advantage.
So was he messing with James Hoyt the other day?
The old open door trick. Here's a pitch to Alex Bregman, 2 on, nobody out.
One time I wish he had a fishing pole out there to snag James Hoyt and reel him back in.
How about the fatheads that the fans came up with?
I am dying to get a hold of one of those.
We got to find those again.
I am in the process, but rumor has it what I was looking for has been destroyed. Yeah. That was a little disappointing.
Why would you destroy that?
I want to say it was the person who was on the big head. Did not appreciate the fact that picture had shown up in a large photo.
I have a good source that told me that it may have been, not definitively, may have been a teacher that established that fathead for Bjorn.
Really?
Teacher, summertime, plenty of
time. Yeah, we can reproduce.
We may be able to work this through again.
If you're listening, please, we can work a trade.
When the bullpen saw that, they went crazy. Ken Giles was begging to keep him.
And that's what makes it so interesting to me to be able to bring it back is because the players had such a good time with it.
2-0 the count to Bregman. Gossett, who has had really good command all game. The difference between the pitch counts is because Gossett, who's allowed 4 hits, has not walked a batter. Brad Peacock, who's only allowed 2 hits, walked 6, and that's why his day will be done, having thrown over 100 pitches through 5. Gossett right now at 78. He's down 3-0 now to Alex Bregman on that check swing.
He's questioning himself a little bit because you were talking about the ability to locate the fastball. 2-0 count doesn't seem like a count where he'd want to go with the slider. just a good fastball away, might be opportunistic to get him back in the count.
Bregman hit a bullet to third his first time up. Takes a fastball there. It's 3-1. One of those times where you go through the bottom half of the Astros lineup and you're looking for a little breather and you cannot find it.
Alex hasn't hit a 3-run home run this year. Be a good time.
Inside, ball 4. The bases will be loaded for Jake Marisnick. Yeah. Those fans having a good time out in center field. So many great vantage points there. We saw the fans that stand on the wall and along the corridor in the home run alley and in the Budweiser party area, but there are also great seating areas out there to watch the game.
No, it is good. Actually, from the parking garage, I take that elevator up and you come out in that right field mezzanine by Torchy's. And part of the reason I do is just because the view's great from up there. It's an enjoyable walk coming across. But a great day to be indoors and have this roof in a facility like this too. Looking kind of miserable outside.
When you see little sections where there's pockets of seats, it's not because people haven't bought those seats, it's because they're hanging out in center field.
You're exactly right. They vacated and taking a tour of the ballpark.
There could be worse places to watch a game for sure. So here's Jake Marisnick with the bases loaded. Jake trying to add to this 2-1 lead. Takes a pitch for a strike. Gaddis on third, Marwin on second, Bregman on first. Inside, it's 1-1. Astros this year have hit 3 grand slams. Marwin Gonzalez, Alex Bregman in New York, and Yuli Gurriel in Miami. Marwin here against the Rangers. Jake has never hit a grand slam in his career. He's down to the count 1-2. This is the part of the lineup that won our Stroh poll earlier in this series. The best part, or the most impressive part of the first half of the season was the bottom of the order, according to our Astros viewers.
Just takes one.
Speaking of our Astros viewers, thank you for all those that tuned in last night.
Yeah.
How about that?
That was great.
Jesse Hahn versus David Paulino gives us our biggest numbers of the year. They had a lot of time to view that game. It was a 3.5-hour game.
Just kind of gives you the idea that fans like to see some offense. A lot of runs scored last night.
2-2 the count. You know Gossett does not want to get to a full count. See if Jake gets a pitch to hit. Foul tip, and that is a strikeout caught by Fegler. That is the first strikeout of the game for Daniel Gossett. Couldn't come at a better time for him. And now we'll have to deal with the top of the lineup.
That slider again took just enough off of it to break in front of that swing. Jake got a little bit quick on that.
Well, the fans quickly recovered from that strikeout because they saw the guy striding to the plate. And it's a guy who has 28 RBIs in his last 29 games, George Springer. Springer this year with the bases loaded, 2 for 3 with 5 runs batted in. Another count. George hitting a leadoff home run in last night's game. Hit a 9th inning home run on Tuesday. Looking for a home run in every game this series.
Have that camera ready.
2-0. Mentioned how good the control is for Gossett. He will have to be pinpoint here down in the count to this guy as hot as he's been.
I just find it remarkable throughout the course of the season in these big situations, you still see Astro hitters very disciplined. Those were a couple of pitches borderline up that a lot of home run hitters might go after, but George taking them puts himself in a great spot to hit.
Line drive at the shortstop, Barreto, and they get a double play. Bases loaded, double play on a line drive to short, and that ends the rally. We're through 5. It's still 2-1.
Top of the 6th, and it's time for the best neighbors ever, presented by Neighbors Emergency Center. A couple of guys that are neighbors out there in that bullpen for the Houston Astros. 31 games for Devo, 32 games for Will Harris. They've come through in some clutch situations, pitched multiple innings, and also racking up the holds. Both these guys got a couple of saves under their belts also, but high swing and miss type guys do it in different ways, but highly effective and go-to guys out of that Astro bullpen.
Well, you mentioned the extra rest for Davinsky after he was used frequently and for a high pitch count in Seattle. There's the CB.
That is it. We need to get those mass
they're
production.
still back. How did that happen?
I don't know, but I totally appreciate it.
So the rumors of them being destroyed, he didn't get all of them.
No, they are still circulating.
I love it.
Me too.
0-1 the count to Matt Olson. And the Devo hats are back. That has become a popular item behind the plate. Over the mound, and Correa is there in the shift. Perfectly placed, 1 out. Devo hats and a good afternoon at the ballpark. Josh Fegley, the batter, 1 out, nobody on. Good slider to start that at bat.
Love it. It's a big hat. Get it? Part of the Ferguson family here.
One and one to count.
I will never see that foam hat and think of anything else.
And I will never cease to laugh.
That's just fuel on my fire.
Yeah, that's a good stuff. 1-1 pitch off the end of the bat. It's 1-2.
That's legit.
Pretty good crowd. It's a work day. It's Thursday afternoon.
Yeah, for some people.
Maybe we shouldn't have shown those guys with the Devo hats. 1-2 pitch is upstairs. It's 2-2. They look like they were coming right from the office in their dress shirts and ties.
Well, you can always keep
the ties are off.
Yeah. But you could just fold up the Devo hat, put it in your briefcase, just in case you end up in a ball game.
Altuve out, still on the move, and he makes the basket catch in between Springer and Marisnik.
have a tendency to panic a little bit when those baseballs are put in that Bermuda Triangle out there between three guys that have incredible range. Good look at Altuve. Recognition, finds a spot, goes for it. But how about the recognition of Springer and Marisnick peeling off and allowing Altuve just to finish off and make a great basket catch? That's an incredible play.
I don't think you're the only one that has a little trepidation when that happens. You got 6'3" and 6'5" running at Jose Altuve. That's not usually a good result for him if there's any sort of contact.
Yeah.
So when he goes out there full speed, we've already seen him this year with Teoscar Hernandez in a collision.
Well, you talked about the StatCast speed of those three guys, probably the three fastest guys on the Astros coming at each other.
That velocity in different directions. 1-1 the count to Jacob Bregman, and now it's 1-2. Has faced Bregman once before. Young outfielder for the A's, struck out his lone appearance, just saw a fastball. Normally will set up that circle of death, the changeup. There is the changeup, and Bregman out in front of it. It's 1-2. Kamensky was honored to be portrayed on that bobblehead yesterday that was given out to the fans who bought that special Game of Thrones tickets. Even though he has not been a Game of Thrones fan, he just appreciated the fact that he was depicted riding on a dragon.
No, he was legitimately honored by the situation. It's one thing to have a bobblehead, but to actually have a themed bobblehead is pretty impressive.
They keep alternating fastball, changeup, back to the high fastball, and Bregman, who's done a good job of staying alive in counts. Keeps fouling pitches off. 2 outs, nobody on. Astros lead at 2-1. Past the mound and up the middle for a base hit. Well, Bregman with a good at bat there. 2-out base runner.
Keep that dragon claw pulled back. Don't want to ruin any of the talents.
You saw Bregman's reaction once he got to first base with Mike Aldrete. He kind of looked at him like, that was a struggle.
Fun AB.
Yeah. Just glad I survived that at bat. Here's Adam Rosales. He is 0 for 2, but his fielder's choice ground out with the bases loaded scored the only run for the A's. The Astros had not left a runner on through 4 innings, but then a bases loaded 1-out line drive turned into a double play. Springer hit a bullet at the shortstop Barreto. The Astros have left their first 2 runners on. The A's have left on 7 through 5. Have a runner on first here with 2 outs. Line drive turned into a double play as Gonzalez was picked off second. And Marwin kind of got a little quick start instead of freezing off second base, and that cost him in that double play. Just kind of broke a little bit to third, and just that little flinch ended up.
Got that half step.
Pitches away. It's 2-0.
And it's tough too at second base, that line drive. You've got to be aware where the infielders are at. And it's always been told freeze on a line drive, but mentally when you're thinking about at second base, I want to score on a base hit, you have a tendency to be a little too aggressive sometimes.
That's conflicting thoughts.
Yeah.
Trying to get that good secondary lead and score on a single, but it's also freeze if it's at an infielder. Unfortunately, it cost the Astros in the bottom half of the 5th inning. Kamensky with a 2-1 count on Rosales, who went 0 for 2 against his former minor league teammate Brad Peacock. Pitches outside. The throw by Gaddis is not in time. It looked like a pretty good throw by Evan, but a stolen base for Bregman, his first stolen base.
It looks like Altuve may have missed with the tag.
Bregman's first major league steal.
Yeah, a lot of movement coming back towards the inside part of the diamond by Altuve pulled him away from the base runner. See if that glove comes by and swipes him. Does not.
Good strong throw by Gaddis, but Bregman picks up a steal, and now it's 3-1 to Rosales. And that's ball 4. And Rosales, who sprints around the bases when he hits a home run, also sprints to first on the walk. So first and second with 2 outs. Joyce the batter. Joyce is grounded out, struck out, and walked. Towards the pitcher, Davinsky barehand makes the play and gets out of the 6th inning. We head to the bottom half. Astros lead 2-1.
The Astros lead the A's 2-1. Enjoy Budweiser Happy Hour at the Brew House tomorrow, featuring beer and food specials from 5 to 6:30 before the game. Happy Hour will include $6 Budweiser signature draft beers, a live DJ, games, and more. Visit Astros.com to get tickets for Friday's game now. Todd.
All right, Julia. Bottom half of the 6th inning, Josh Reddick leads things off against Daniel Gossett and takes a pitch down low for a ball, 1-0. Reddick has been robbed of a home run his first time up by Matt Joyce in right field, and also doubled to left. Reddick coming off a 3-hit, 3 RBI game last night. Josh is now 13 for 25 since coming off the disabled list, adding .520. He's going on the 7-day concussion DL. What was that?
How do you hold that?
I mean, this is a guy with pinpoint control. He just threw a pitch 59 feet. Not even 59 feet, like 52 feet.
Yeah, that was aggressive for 59 feet.
It's 3-1 to Reddick. How do you hold that? Is that what you say on the bench?
Screaming at him.
3-2.
Not going to set too many guys up for a pitch when you bury it 50 feet in front of him.
I mean, this guy has been right around the plate, hitting the mitt of Fegley on a consistent basis. And then he unleashes that on the 2-1 pitch. Now it's 3-2 on Josh. And a base hit once again. Josh Reddick against the A's continues to roll on. 2 for 3 today. Leadoff runner in the 6th inning.
The foot is down on time. The hands are back and loaded, ready to fire. The head is staying still. Josh Reddick is dialed in, to say the least.
He has scored 11 runs in his last 7 games plus today.
He's spending more time talking to Oakland A's than he is his own team. He spent so much time on the base paths.
Josh was disappointed that he had to miss that first game in Oakland, but he was there. So he had a chance to catch up with everybody, knowing he wasn't going to be activated off the concussion DL to the 2nd game of that 4-game series. Pitch misses inside to Altuve, 1-0. Altuve has been retired on a soft line drive to second, also flied out to center.
Where's Josh Reddick on the outfield all-star balloting? And the push he's put on. Man, oh man.
Okay, he's the guy that flies under the radar. And Altuve into right center field, pretty well hit. This ball's off the wall. Reddick, a great jump off first base, and he is going to score. Reddick scores on the Altuve double, and the Astros lead it 3-1.
Altuve with the long drive, but I'm with you. Josh Reddick was off with contact, it seemed like, and Altuve got himself a slider. Saw him pull off one earlier in the game. This one he stays on it, drives the other way. Head down, drive through it. Nicely done. But as soon as Josh Reddick, it looked like he was reading the right fielder, Matt Joyce. You could see as soon as he saw Matt Joyce was going to have no shot at this, it was head down. The best part about this, watch when he stops. It's when he's in the dugout. I mean, he sprinted all the way home and just powered into the dugout.
And when we talk about A.J. Hinch in his post-game comments saying the little things that you do to win games, that Reddick does something every day to win a game, that's one of the little things. Not a lot of guys score on that ball from first base.
No, I'm with you. They're a little hesitant, make sure the ball's down, but he anticipated it, and he's not slowing down. He barely high-fiving the guy on deck.
And we've talked about, and I've brought it up a lot, the StatCast speed chart that came out earlier in the week. And Josh is right there, believe it or not, right there with George Springer. Around the top 5 for the Astros. It went Altuve and then Marisnick and Correa together, and then those two guys, Springer and Reddick together. But it's that read. I don't care if you're Billy Hamilton. If you don't read that ball off the bat, you're not going to necessarily score from first. And that read allowed him to score on a double to right center by Altuve. Certainly Jose appreciates that.
Well, and that's what's interesting about this ballpark, too. That right center field gap is not as deep as normal ballparks. So the right fielder has the opportunity to get to that baseball a little bit quicker. So Josh needs to get that good jump to score.
And the Astros take advantage. That's now for Reddick in his last 7 games plus today, 12 runs scored. Here's Carlos Correa. Correa scored Reddick the first time up with an opposite field home run, or his second time up, to make it a 2-1 game. To center field, Brugman all the way back, looking up. Back-to-back home runs for Correa. In 2 at-bats, 2 home runs, and he has given the Astros a 5-1 lead.
Man-child. Gossett knew it. Correa knew it. The only concern was how many beers was he going to knock out in the Budweiser Pavilion above the center field batting eye.
Ooh.
That close.
Above the star.
That is a bomb. 106.7 miles an hour off the bat. 27-degree launch angle. Estimated 435.
Not quite above the top of the star, but above the H in the star. George Springer celebrates, and we will have a new pitcher when we come back. Correa, 4 RBIs on 2 home runs.
out to a 5-1 lead over the Oakland Athletics, due in large part to this man. Potential MVP candidate Carlos Correa taking advantage of a 3-2 count, slider out the other way. Then this one right here just happened high off that center field, batting eye off the bat of Carlos Correa. That is a multi-home run game, his 4th in his career. The last time he did it was April 6th. Young man knows the situation and loves the spotlight, and he creates it by driving the ball out of the ballpark.
So he knocks the starter Daniel Gossett out of the game. Gossett was very impressive through the first 3 innings plus, but then 2 2-run home runs off the bat of Carlos Correa get the young right-hander out of Clemson, and they turn to Liam Hendricks to face Carlos Beltran with nobody out in the 6th inning. Hendricks pitching for the 2nd time in this series, induces a pop-up off the bat of Beltran. Rosales, the 3rd baseman, is there to put it away for the 1st out. 34th appearance on the year for Hendricks out of Australia. That has been battling it a little bit lately. He's allowed a run in 7 of his last 11 appearances. One of those stretches. He allowed 3 runs to the Astros in the 9th inning of the game on Tuesday. The Astros were trailing that game 6-1. Hendricks allowed a single to Bregman, a single to Marisnick, and then the home run by George Springer to make that a game. He was then taken out. Santiago Casilla closed that game for the A's on Tuesday night. Evan Gattis, the batter, 1 for 2 today. And a 2-0 count to Evan. Well, Correa now with 16 home runs and 53 runs batted in. He's taken over the RBI lead on the team from George Springer, who has 52. And as this season progresses, you may see that a little more often. This is a guy, it seems like, as the moments get bigger, he excels. And if this team is on its way to a division title, you may see Correa doing special things.
The game just slows down a little bit. It just gets a little bit quieter for a talented guy like Carlos Correa. You really cannot make a mistake to him. He will abuse it.
To center. Brugman calls off Chris Davis and puts it away for out number 2. Well, in comes the Yankees tomorrow. Still have 3 innings to go in this game. 3 innings plus. That's a big series.
Yeah.
All the talk of the town right now is with the leading vote getter in the American League, Aaron Judge. Carlos Correa, big moments. That could be an interesting weekend series for Correa.
It'll be a lot of fun to see those guys go back and forth.
You've got Springer, who's 2nd in the league in runs scored to Judge. He's also 2nd in the league in home runs to Aaron Judge. Now he lost his team lead in RBIs to Springer. Here's Marlon Gonzalez. Judge has not yet declared if he is going to participate in the home run derby. The hope is that he and Giancarlo Stanton will be the 2 beasts of the home run derby, but he has not yet decided. Stanton is in. 2 home run hitters here in this series, Chris Davis for the A's, George Springer for the Astros, have decided they are not going to participate if asked. When I say the 2 home run hitters, the 2 leading home run hitters, there's Alonso, there's Correa, there's other guys, Marlon Gonzalez, who have hit a number of home runs, but Altuve's got 11.
How do you do that?
Teach me.
Yeah. Altuve, 200 hits a year, is in awe of Carlos Correa.
I love those guys' interactions on the field, in the dugout.
That's a really good visual of what they have going on.
I know there are teammates that have more fun, or maybe as much fun, but not many. Not many guys have as much fun on the field, in the dugout, playing the game of baseball than the Altuve-Correa combination.
can only imagine, yeah.
And that guy's in his own league when it comes to fun.
Yeah.
He doesn't need an audience.
No, people just gravitate to him.
Or he messes with Julia.
Yeah, he messes with a lot of people.
Right. Julia just happens to be our representative that gets messed with.
Well, I've been.
Yeah, he messes with Jake a lot.
Well, the funniest thing I've ever seen was Jake and Altuve throwing each other's hats in the stands. That was priceless. It turned into a competition. And I mean, Jose Altuve, a perennial all-star, to get his hat would be cherished. And Jake would run, take Altuve's hat, and fire it 10 rows into the seats.
I want to hear more about this. We got a strikeout to end the inning, but not before this.
Big kid growing up on the big stage with big hits.
It's 5-1. We go to the 7th. It's time to reveal the winner of today's Chevy Stroh poll. Thanks to everyone who voted today. Remember to follow us on Twitter at RootSportsSW. We asked you who your first half Astros offensive MVP is. George Springer, the winner, with 73%. Marwin Gonzalez coming in second. Carlos Correa found out the results and decided to go yard twice today. Can't really go wrong in today's poll.
No. You can't. I mean, how does a guy get 6% of the vote who has 16 home runs and 53 RBIs? Most teams, that's the 90%. Yeah, that's the 90% guy. And oh, by the way, he's hitting over 300, 305 coming in, and 2 for 3 today. And Correa gets 6%. But it's hard to argue with the votes with the way Springer has been.
Yeah, you could definitely make a case for any of those guys.
And that's how solid this offense has been this year, as Franklin Barreto will lead things off in the 7th against Chris Davinsky. And Davinsky makes quick work of the young shortstop, and he strikes him out on 3 pitches. First strikeout for Davinsky in his 2nd inning of work.
Little whip it in the background going from the PA. Nice.
16th time multiple inning games for Chris Davinsky. That's the most in the bullpen. James Hoyt 13. Michael Feliz a dozen of those. We talked about this a little bit last night. Beginning of the year, a couple of extra inning games. A.J. Hinch was happy to have a Davinsky in a tie game go as many as 4 innings, picking up big strikeout numbers in both of those appearances. But now he'd like to keep Davinsky at an inning or 2, maybe not get to that 3 or 4 inning plateau, because he knows how valuable he is with the Yankees coming into town. You don't necessarily want to burn him for 3 more days. He's working on 3 days rest now. Maybe we'll see him in this inning and possibly a new pitcher in the 8th as Jed Lowry singles into left field with 1 out in the 7th.
Yeah, getting 2 innings out of Davinsky would be a luxury.
So the Jake throwing the Altuve hat, going back to the story, that was that multiple.
Oh yeah,
multiple times, not just one place, a couple times.
No, there was one time in Arlington, Altuve's getting interviewed. Jake comes by, rips the hat off Altuve's head, fires it up on top of the lockers, and kind of laughs at him and goes, "You have to go get that now." And, you know, we know Altuve's not one of the taller humans in life, so he literally grabbed a ladder to get the hat off the top of the locker. Then Jake was getting interviewed by Julie, I believe, after one of the games, and Altuve came over, grabbed Jake's hat, fired it 10 rows into the seats. Yeah, and they would just continue to go back and forth. It was a season-long epidemic. And that was just what I saw.
Right.
Julia probably saw it day in, day out.
2-0 the count to Chris Davis. And now it's 3-0.
I believe it started with the beanie that Jake was wearing in the clubhouse. And Altuve actually took scissors to it one day and cut it up. And Jake sewed it back together and kept wearing it. So it was pieced together, and that's kind of how this whole thing evolved, I believe. It was fun to watch, though.
It is
because
great.
it was every game, every time they'd win, you'd see a hat go flying into the stand. One lucky fan would go home with Altuve's hat.
It was great.
Three-one changeup for a strike had Davis frozen as 3-2. That is a hittable pitch, but not necessarily with the circle of death for Chris Davinsky.
Yeah, you get the COD in a fastball count. You're either going to swing and miss wildly or take it. Speaking of swinging and missing wildly.
So he gets the 3-1 changeup over for a strike, and then he chases the 3-2 changeup out of the zone.
Yeah, that might have been the original COD, because that first one was a little get me over like you were talking about, but this is just nasty.
That is a guy that induces as many swings and misses as any reliever, and another guy at the plate who swings through a lot of pitches.
Does.
It's a good combination for Devo. 2 outs, a runner on first. Astros have now struck out 9 A's today after striking out 17 in last night's game. The A's coming in with the second lowest batting average in the American League, only to the Texas Rangers. They are 4 for 24 today against Astros pitching, and also the second most strikeouts. Fly ball on the left, Josh Reddick under it, and Davinsky threw 2 shutout innings, leaving a runner on. 7th inning stretch time at Minute Maid Park, 5-1 Houston.
one, Astros, and it is time to name that Astro. This is brought to you by your local Honda dealer. We give you 3 clues. You give us your best guess at Root Sports SW is where you can tweet it. Bonham, ERA title, not a mortician. Those are your clues. Name that Astro.
Got it.
I think I've got this one.
Yeah, that'll boy.
Nicely done.
I got this one.
Work up there.
At Root Sports SW for your guesses. As we head to the bottom half of the 7th inning, fans enjoying the 7th inning stretch here at Minute Maid Park as they are watching their home team leading 5-1. Liam Hendricks did a nice job coming out of the bullpen for the A's, retiring 3 in the 6th inning after the 2-run home run by Carlos Correa, adding to the Astros lead. And now the A's go back to the bullpen for a Cal Bear, 30-year-old right-hander Michael Brady.
Converted shortstop, originally with the Marlins, now coming up with the Oakland Athletics. Still trying to figure it out. He's got good stuff. A little cut on that fastball. Trying to tie up left-handers. The good thing is he has good command in the zone. Yet to walk a batter in his big league career.
He was a really good defensive shortstop at Cal, drafted by the Marlins. Alex Bregman will lead things off against Brady. We saw Joe Perez interviewed earlier in this series. Perez was the 2nd overall pick by the Astros in this year's first-year player draft. And Perez is a guy that could pitch upper 90s, but also they drafted him as a 3rd baseman. Well, when this guy was drafted, Brady, by the Marlins, he lasted just 35 at-bats into his first season. And the Marlins said, you know what? Let's look at that arm on the mound, and the rest is history. He's made it all the way to the big leagues.
Sometimes those professional sliders can expose you a little early, huh?
2009, he was a hitter, went 3 for 35, and then the next year he became a pitcher. You still would use him occasionally. You look at CB, Greg Bjornson, and
you look at him.
Left-hander Ramin Gudwan. What is CB doing? Saying, don't throw the ball. Put up the stop sign.
Well, it must be a little bit of a technique that they've been working on.
Little flare into left center field. Works for Alex Bregman. He's on base for the 2nd time. 1 for 2 with a walk.
Come out to the ballpark today through July 2nd as the Astros celebrate Play Ball Weekend. 10,000 fans at Sunday's game will receive a Play Ball ball and bat set presented by Chevrolet. They will get that as they exit the stadium. For more information, visit playball.org.
That's the best part about that. As you exit the stadium, that could be a disaster.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Ball and bat during the stadium, during the game.
Bring it.
There'd be balls flying all over Minute Maid Park. Here's Jake Marisnick, 0 for 2. That was an interesting look, though, because that was Gudwan getting ready to come into a game, and then the bullpen coach, Greg Bjornson, going through, as you said, just a little reminder about his mechanics.
Well, it gives you some insight. He is the bullpen coach. He's also in charge of getting these guys ready to come into games, giving them prep on the guys they might end up facing. But at the same time, Bjornson works with Brent Strom and how to get these guys prepared and some of the techniques that maybe he wants to see them prepare for before they come in the game.
And both Gudwan and Sip had to know with this left-handed dominated lineup that this would be a big series for them. Broken bat up the middle, hit for Jake Marisnick. Turning second and heading to third is Bregman. He is safe. Marisnick to second.
That is a young man who's been in the league for just over a year, running right in the face of a rookie. Ball not hit very hard off the bat of Jake Marisnick. A broken bat single up the middle, and I wonder if that's what piqued Alex Bregman's interest as far as going first to third. But I like the fact that he's also forcing the A's to play defense, which they haven't done very well in the past. Good hustle. Rosales never making the pick. How about Jake trailing the play and making it into second base also?
Good base running all the way around. Bregman going first to third. Marisnick following him into second base with the trail.
And now that'll bring the infield in, and George Springer at the plate. Springer hit a rocket to shortstop, turned into a double play his last time up, 0 for 3 today. Look at this Astros team. And they came through that 5th inning with the bases loaded, nobody out. Marisnick strikes out. Springer hits a bullet double play. A lot of teams could get down and say, man, we should have scored a run there. And the Astros are probably frustrated with that half inning, but they come right back with 3 in the next half. And here they are with 2nd and 3rd and nobody out in this half inning. Pitch inside on Springer. It's 2-0.
Well, your normal lineup, and you have your RBI home run leader and George Springer line out into a double play. You sit there and you say, we missed our opportunity. You can't say that with this lineup. There's going to be somebody else later on that's going to be doing some damage.
This is the count George had last time when he hit that line drive at the shortstop, and now it's 3-0. See the infield in, 3-0 count. That is not ideal for any of the A's infielders. And the guy who's been doing a lot of damage against his former team waits on deck, Josh Reddick. Slider 3-0 that Springer fouled back.
Now you see the infield playing in, but Adam Rosales is the smartest man on the field, because if you're playing third base and you've got a power hitting third baseman, you don't want to be where that mark is on the line. Exit velocity is well over 100 miles an hour when George is swinging the bat, so self-preservation tells you to play a little bit deeper.
Veteran third baseman, rookie shortstop.
Yeah.
They got him to chase one up in the zone a little bit there. It's 3-2.
Looked like George was anticipating a little more break and didn't get it out of that pitch.
Brady will throw that cutter as often as he'll throw a fastball to right-hand hitters. Brady has worked back in the count. It's now 3-2. Up and in, ball 4. And the bases are loaded with nobody out.
Andrea's right. He has been right man, right spot right now too.
Brady faced the Astros in last night's game, retired all 4 batters he faced, did not face Josh Reddick. Faced the guys behind him, 3 through 6 in the lineup. Is a called strike, 0-1. Reddick did see Brady in the Oakland series on the West Coast, and he had a triple against him and a home run against him in 2 at-bats. In the air to center field, Brugman back. Bregman will tag on Brugman. All the runners will tag. Springer head first into second, and he is safe. RBI for Reddick. Astros now lead 6-1. On the sac fly, Josh Reddick's 32nd run batted into the year.
Fundamental baseball, you know Josh wanted to do something big right here. It ends up being a deep enough fly ball for everybody on the base paths to advance. And the Astros are showing no respect for Brugman's arm.
Well, what we've mentioned it before, when Reddick went to third, what that did to the mindset of Daniel Gossett. With Springer tagging and going to second, it completely changes his at-bat for Altuve, because they might be playing double play depth in the middle for Jose if Springer stays on first.
Yeah.
By tagging and going to second, it brings the infield in and gives Altuve.
Well, Springer doesn't tag up and get to second base. It leaves that double play opportunity on the board. Something I saw Brad Ausmus do here when I played with him quite often, is hit into that double play.
That was a little bus action. You just threw Brad right under the bus, huh?
Oh, every once in a while you got to say hello to your friends.
So now the infield's in with Altuve. It's a big difference for Jose in a 6-1 game. He wants to add to that lead. And a line drive, it works out for the A's because Lowry is there. So the infield comes in and Altuve hits a line drive right at the infielder.
Good base running. Guy's able to lock down. He thought that one was going to sneak up the middle. Good play by Lowry.
Intentional walk is going to be issued to Carlos Correa after back-to-back two-run home runs. They would rather face Beltran, the left-hand hitter, than righty on righty. Tigers defeating the Royals this afternoon 7-3 in a game that's already over. Beltran with the bases loaded.
Yeah, you got to appreciate Brad Ausmus getting those Tigers beat up in their division.
Beltran and Brian McCann both coming over from the New York Yankees, both matching each other in their careers with grand slams. Beltran has 11, McCann has 11. Beltran's last grand slam came against the guy that's in the A's bullpen now. He was in the Indians bullpen then, back in 2014, John Axford. Left center field. Brugman with a good track on it makes the play, and that is out number 3. Astros add to their lead at 6-1 heading to the 8th.
Astros leading the A's. And time to name that Astro. It's brought to you by your local Honda dealer. These were your 3 clues today. Thanks for tweeting in your best guesses. Bonham from the Texoma area. Danny Darwin, not a mortician, but he is Dr. Death. What a nickname. Thanks to Nolan Ryan for that one.
ERA title.
Wasn't the story that he punched one of his own teammates in a fight on the field? I think I heard that in a roundabout kind of way. But he was feared. It's a good nickname.
Dr. Death. Ramin Gudwan. Saw his numbers against lefties. That's why he's in there. 3 of the next 5 hitters for the A's are left-handed hitters. 2 of the next 3, 3 of the next 5. They'll face the tall first baseman, Matt Olson, who is 1 for 3. Gudwan appearing in the second
game of this series. We mentioned Sip and Gudwan knew they would be important cogs in this bullpen against the A's with all their lefties. Sip has been used the first 2 games. Gudwan pitched Tuesday, now back here on Thursday afternoon. He's ahead of the count, 0-2 on Olsen.
It would be great to see Gudwan pitch well in this outing and give some of those guys a little bit of a break going into this New York Yankees series coming up this weekend. Namely, a Ken Giles, a Luke Gregerson, a Will Harris. See James Hoyt getting loose out there in the bullpen also.
That is what makes Gudwan so good. If he can stay in the zone, get ahead, and then go to that slider, that's the difference between him giving up runs and striking out the first batter like that.
And working with Bjornson out there, might have been that front shoulder driving down, because you could really see him driving towards home plate on that delivery of the slider, that it opens up the arm to come through and give you a good delivery and release point on that slider.
Now he'll face the right-hand hitting Josh Phegley. You saw the splits. This is the side that has given Gudwan some issues, the right-hand hitters. He starts off with a 95-mile-an-hour firm fastball for a called strike.
Because there's plenty of life in that arm. It's just a matter of controlling it, being consistent.
When you have that, 97 with a tail.
Did you see the movement?
Oh my goodness.
That was beautiful.
That's why people are so excited about this arm.
Yeah, watch the arm side run at 97, tailing away from the right-handed hitter. You see Phegley's head pop up. He looked immediately to the miles per hour.
Fouls that one off. It's 0-2 still. Hey, he's an interesting arm. He's got the stuff to absolutely be at this level. And for Raymond, it's about command. Being able to command that zone, being able to stay ahead of counts, both in the minor leagues and here at the big league level. Brent Strom, obviously very interested observer, watching his young 25-year-old left-hander out of San Pedro de Macorís. Tried to hold up, and he does. 1-2. Phegley walked a couple of times and also popped up. Breaking ball in the dirt. Phegley swings through it. Gaddis makes the throw. That is a strikeout for Gudwan. Back-to-back strikeouts in the 8th.
Catch one of the best ballpark bargains with Coca-Cola Value Nights for only $18 during select weekday games. This offer includes a ticket, hot dogs, soda, and popcorn. Visit astros.com/Coke Value for tickets and more information.
Gudwan faced the A's on Tuesday night. He pitched 1 inning, allowed 3 hits, walked a batter, and allowed a run. Another run was thrown out trying to score on a ground ball at shortstop. But in that inning, he did struggle staying ahead of counts. In this inning, he has been throwing the ball over the plate to start counts, and that just opens up so many things for him.
That is one thing that AJ preaches over and over and over again in his media outings that he has before games and his press conferences after the game. He praises guys for getting ahead early and taking command of ABs.
Bregman with a check swing. 1-1. Bregman's only 1 for 3 today, but all his at-bats have been impressive. He has battled Davinsky, ended up with a base hit his last time up. That time he chases one in the dirt, and that's Gudwan, lefty on lefty with that nasty slider. Comes in around 87. Astros leading 6-1, trying to win a series at home for the first time in a while. They lost all 3 series at home in their last stand, going 3-6. Dropped the series to the Angels, dropped the series to the Rangers and the Red Sox, losing 2 out of 3 in all those.
That That lanky frame coming right at you.
Gaddis getting some work back there.
I haven't seen Gary Soderstrom move that fast in a while.
Evan checking with him.
Who left first, Gaddis or the umpire? Balin.
Called third strike. Gudwan gets Brugman looking. Ramin Gudwan strikes out the side in the 8th. Sports is presented by Southwest. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. And by Toyota. Let's go places. Nothing better than getting a baseball at the ballpark.
That is absolutely pure joy.
Just had the 10-year anniversary of the Craig Biggio 3,000th hit. And that young fan will not forget this ball game after getting a baseball as we head to the bottom half of the 8th inning. Last night was the 10-year mark since Biggio's 3,000. Evan Gaddis, Marwin Gonzalez, Alex Bregman against the A's right-hander Michael Brady. Brady pitched the 7th, allowed a run, and left the bases loaded. It's a called strike to Gaddis. Evan 1 for 3. Astros trying to improve their record on the season against the Oakland A's to 10-2 on the year. They have really been dominant in this season series. Wasn't always that way.
No, yeah, you weren't here for a lot of that. It was some weird games out there at Oakland Coliseum that Ricky built, and then it was some blowouts. There were just some odd endings to some of those ball games that ended up being losses for the Astros.
And going back to last season, it's now been 10 straight for the Astros in Oakland.
Yeah, it's turned into a place they love showing up at.
2-1 to count to Gaddis. Brady pitched in a couple of games against the Astros in Oakland in that series. Gaddis takes a pitch away. It's 3-1.
Good take.
Hit well to left. Chris Davis watching as goes off the fence on one hop. Gaddis with his second hit of the game. He's at second base with a leadoff double.
Kind of looked like he stunned Davis by hitting that ball so hard. Well, I was going to say out over the plate, but that's basically right down the middle. See Evan Gaddis just driving the axe through the middle of the zone.
Here's Marwin Gonzalez. Marwin continued his hitting streak with a single in the 5th inning. He's got an 8-game hitting streak going now. Left-hand hitter, he's at .331 on the season. Overall, .315. .316 with that 1 for 3 today. Left side has been his strong side. He has 10 of his 13 home runs left-handed, and 36 of his 42 runs batted in, and a higher batting average. One and one the count. Tonight will be the last night for fans to vote for the All-Star starters. Encouraging people to go to astros.com/vote. Tonight at 11 o'clock Central Time, it'll be the deadline. So many fans via social media have sent us their screenshot of "I can't vote anymore. I'm at my 35 vote max."
Change your name, go to the alias. Create that new fake account. Keep going. Don't give me this carpal tunnel, fingers are cramping stuff. Keep it going.
There was a big push early in the voting to try and get Marwin as a write-in candidate. Nobody has ever been voted in since Steve Garvey. I think it's only happened twice. Rico Party and Steve Garvey vote-in or write-in candidates that started an All-Star game. But there was a big push early. It's really tough to, as a write-in candidate to get enough love to win a vote. But especially when you play every position.
Where do you put him?
Right a minute. But we'll see what happens Sunday when they name the All-Star rosters. We're not discounting that Marwin could end up on that American League team.
Well, voting is voting for all the positions. Why can't they create a position for a utility guy? Just one slot. Just say there's a utility position open. Who's it going to be?
That wouldn't be a bad idea. Marwin would probably be your lead candidate for that category. We saw Ben Zobrist kind of establish that position.
Yeah, but you can't penalize a guy for having a great year or penalize him, for not having a position while he's having a great year.
Marwin in this series started in left field on Tuesday, started at third base yesterday, making some good plays at third, and today starting across the diamond at first base. Gave Alex Bregman a breather last night. Bregman hit the ball hard his first time, lined out. Since then, a walk and a single. Michael Brady can strike one on Bregman. Brady sharing the same name as the patriarch of the Brady bunch. because Bregman's at the plate that I'm reminded of that. But there was a great episode where Cindy Brady was studying for a quiz, and she knew all the answers, but then the camera went on and she froze. The red light went on. But the answer, because Bregman reminded me of this, was the capital of Louisiana, and she froze. Baton Rouge.
Yep.
Come on, Cindy, Baton Rouge. And she froze. Mike Brady pitching to Alex Bregman. He goes by Michael, the A's pitcher does. Upstairs, it's 1-2. Baton Rouge. The red light is not affecting this Michael Brady like it affected Cindy Brady in the show. And Bregman goes down swinging on a good pitch outside, and Alex does not like his bat after that swing. There's 2 outs in the inning.
Chased a pitch there, mad at himself. Take it out on the bat once, twice.
You're not really thinking there, but do you want the bat to break?
Yes.
You want it gone?
Yes. Destroyed. It's the bat's fault.
2 outs, runner on second. So then you're even more angry that it doesn't break.
And I am, if I'm on the if I'm on the bench, I am writing a note on a post-it that says offender Alex Bregman. Offense, not being able to break his bat on the first try, and I'm putting it in the kangaroo court box.
He had 2
and we will bring that up later.
He had 2 tries at it. See if that bat makes it back to the game tomorrow against the Yankees. 0-1 to Jake Marisnick. It's 1-1. Jake batting for the 4th time. 1 for 3. Jake getting a lot of starts lately for the Astros.
Rightfully so.
It's 11 out of 14 for Jake in the starting lineup. Well, he normally plays this portion of the game anyhow.
Yeah. Who was it that said bench me or trade me?
Oh, for the All-Star game?
No.
Oh.
In general, some of these. I heard a story
right.
about a guy who was a role player, come in, play every once in a while. All of a sudden, he got hot, was playing every day. Went into the manager's office, and said, "Hey, bench me or trade me."
I can't take it anymore.
Yeah, I'm getting overexposed.
I was thinking of the I ain't starting, I ain't departing, Gary Templeton.
Oh, there you go.
For the All-Star game. Cue towards first. A little English on that ball. Fielded by Olsen, and that'll do it. We head to the 9th, 6-1. Lead 6-1. Now it's time for the unlimited baseball break, brought to you by T-Mobile. Yankees play in Chicago tonight against the White Sox. They will arrive late into the evening, and then they'll get ready for this pitching matchup. Michael Pineda against Lance McCullers Jr., second start back from the DL. Jordan Montgomery against Francis Martez. And Luis Severino against Mike Fiers on Sunday. Big crowds expected, Blummer. That's going to be fun.
It's going to be real fun, and it's great that Lance McCullers is going to have that opportunity to lead off that series Friday night. It'll be interesting to see how Francis Martez responds after that last rough outing he had, but a real opportunity for him to step up against the New York Yankees on a big stage. James
Hoyt will get the 9th inning in this 6-1 game. Very impressive 8th inning from Ramin Gudwan, striking out the side. And now Hoyt will face the number 9 hitter and then the top of the order, beginning with Adam Rosales. There's still a chance Sunday could be Charlie Morton. Charlie Morton will pitch somewhere Sunday.
Yes.
He's either going to make another rehab start in the minor leagues, or he's going to start the final game of this homestand against the New York Yankees. And if it's not Morton, that's the normal turn for Mike Fiers. Hoyt quickly ahead of Rosales, no balls and 2 strikes. Hoyt pitched against the A's on Tuesday night, allowed a grand slam to Ryan Healy coming on in the 6th inning in place of Mike Fiers, who deserved a better final line. Fiers left with 3 inherited runners on and 2 outs. And Healy hit his first career grand slam against Hoyt. That's now 1-2. James would really like to have a solid outing here and try and get back on a roll again. He was so good when he came up from AAA Fresno to start the season, but lately it has gone against him. He has allowed runs in 8 of his last 9 outings. And I think that slider right there that you see Rosales fouling off, he was getting a lot of swings and misses earlier in the season. Occasionally he's been missing with that pitch or getting more foul balls lately to keep at-bats alive. Stays 1-2. Hoyt still has a great strikeout per 9 inning ratio going. He's one of the many bullpen arms that is in double digits in that category. .82 strikeouts per 9. And Rosales giving him a battle here. It stays 1-2. Yankees start the night with a record of 42-34. They are percentage points ahead of the Boston Red Sox in the American League East. The Red Sox also play tonight at home against Minnesota. Slider fouled back, still 1-2. Many of those strikeouts, the 14 plus per 9 innings, have come on that slider. 45 strikeouts, 6 walks for Hoyt in 27 1/3 innings. There he finally gets Rosales on that slider. Strikeout to start the 9th.
Player of the game is brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. We just can't say enough about what Carlos Correa has meant to this ball club and the numbers he is beginning to put up. His 4th career multi-home run game today against these Oakland Athletics. And those home runs came in some big spots when the Astros needed to put some runs on the board, and he has stepped up yet again. Get used to us saying his name a lot.
Carlos Correa and Adrian Johnson with a little discussion. Correa moving over to the right side of the infield against the left-hand hitting Matt Joyce. That last strikeout picked up by Hoyt. 4 consecutive strikeouts out of the bullpen. Gudwan struck out 3 last inning, and now Hoyt getting Rosales. 6 strikeouts overall for the bullpen to go along with the 7 from Brad Peacock. So 13 more strikeouts for the Astros pitching staff.
Tell you what, it doesn't matter how good you are, it's always nice to go out there and be friendly to some of those umpires.
That's a continuing conversation. We mentioned the umpires fly commercial. I would think they could get out of Houston tonight, but if not, Carlos may be giving recommendations for the best dining in the area.
Could be.
It's going to fall in if it stays fair, and it does. A little blue extra base hit off the bat of Joyce. Nobody covering third. Now Hoyt will go over and cover on the double by Matt Joyce. One out double in the ninth. We talked about Correa and Altuve and how much they love the game.
This is what you call a heavy ball. Placed perfectly, but dropping quickly in front of the defenders.
Saw where Bregman had to start in the shift. He was basically in the shortstop position.
Not totally foreign to him.
Here's Franklin Barreto. Barreto 0 for 3 in this game, 0 for 10 in the series. Came in with a 4 for 10 mark. Playing in his third, fourth, and fifth major league games. 21-year-old shortstop. Their most highly touted prospect, according to Baseball America. Just turned 21 before the season. Had a chance to meet his fellow countryman from Venezuela, Jose Altuve, in this series. Two 2-0 the count. Well, when things have been going the wrong way, as they have for Hoyt lately, that's the kind of hit you give up.
Yeah. Bloops, a couple of blasts too.
A pop up, and then you don't get that call on the 1-0 pitch, and now all of a sudden you're down 2-0 and thinking, when is this going to turn back in my favor? There's a strike. And the voting ends tonight, but we should be anticipating Jose Altuve making his 5th All-Star team and his 3rd consecutive start. And he should be joined by his double play partner Carlos Correa and also George Springer as starters. That would be a first for the Astros. 3 position players starting in the All-Star game. And if Altuve and Correa have this much fun every day out of 162, imagine how much fun they'll have in Miami.
That will be a good time.
And hopefully they have not only that guy, but a few others joining them with the announcements of the full rosters on Sunday. Hoyt back in the count after falling behind 2-0. And he gets Barreto chasing that slider. That's the 2nd strikeout of the inning. And the 14th for Astros pitching today, coming off of 17 strikeouts last night.
That power slider fell behind early, and Barreto got into take mode. Took a couple of strikes to get into that 2-strike count. Then James Hoyt puts him away with a slider.
So 31 strikeouts the last 2 games from Astros pitching against the A's, and 41 in the series. Pretty well hit to center field. Marisnik going back though, and he makes the play for the final out, and that will end the game. The Astros win the series against the Oakland A's, taking 2 out of 3 with a 6-1 victory this afternoon. Carlos Correa, a couple of 2-run home runs. Brad Peacock will pick up the win, coming back from 9 days rest after the birth of his son. We will have plenty more from Minute Maid Park after this 6-1 victory, including the post-game show right around the corner.